What is up, homies? Welcome to another episode of the CzechXicans podcast on Heroes Reforged.
We're back,
Damn, that
baby.
sounds good. That sounds good.
We're back.
We got a couple new pieces of tech here going on.
Got some new gear.
Some new fun stuff. We were having some issues with our preamps in our previous Rodecaster, so we got the Rodecaster Pro 2.
Yeah.
Adam, show off the new camera here. Show off the new camera.
And
Look at
got
this.
a little action going on here.
So good. So good. Spoilers, we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy in this podcast.
Yeah,
That's one of the things we're going to be talking about.
We will
And-
make you cry.
This is also a weird lineup. I know it might be confusing to somebody watching and be like, that's the wrong Groot. It is the wrong Groot. We're going to get to that. But these are the characters from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah.
But 3 of them have their up-to-date, like,
Outfits.
more recent outfits or
Yeah,
whatever. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what. So a long time ago, I told you guys I got a bunch of action figures. I am not the type of adult nerd that likes to keep them in their packaging. I open them, I play with them, I pose them. But there's so many Marvel characters, all the movies, and I was like, you know, it would be cool if in my brain I'm like, I think it'd be cool to talk about all the Marvel stuff, but with like visual aids and like, you know, you can pose them and
Right,
everything.
right.
And so as soon as I pitched that, Adam's first thing was, no, I'm not ready. I need another camera.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
If it's a whole thing, it's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing.
And now,
We got
look how
another camera.
crispy that
Look
shit
how
looks.
good that looks.
It looks really good.
That's what happens when Adam says, I need some.
We're going to use this as an excuse
Yeah.
to talk about our favorite Guardians characters, but also like basically discuss the new movie, which people
Yeah.
have been very nice and very excited and like waiting on. Like, when are you guys going to talk about Volume 3?
Yeah, for
we
sure.
all saw it. We all saw it like staggered, and I was the latest one because I was out of town on the opening weekend. Finally came back.
He was
finally
nice
watched
enough to
it.
go see it a second time with me in 3D.
Oh, yeah.
Nice, the
The
3D.
3D.
The 3D? Oh my God.
Oh my
Hello.
God.
Hello.
Dude,
Oh my God.
Those Adam Warlock shots.
Yeah,
I was
so
like,
good.
this is what Black Adam was missing.
Right.
Yeah.
This is what the movie
Right.
Black Adam was missing.
That
Yeah.
in 3D.
and a billion other things, but we'll get to that. We'll get to
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So aside from Guardians, we also
Yeah.
did a cooking special not too long ago.
We
that
did. We did.
That'll come out soon.
Yeah, that
Or
was
eventually.
that
I
was a
don't
lot
know.
of fun. I mean, again, it was an opportunity for us to use a lot of this gear that, you know, if we're just doing a podcast, well, not just, but if we're doing a podcast and we're doing a lot of stuff remotely, it's a lot harder to be able to find uses for some of this stuff. So doing something like a cooking special allowed us to have an excuse to use a lot of this gear.
I think it was
And-
Augustine that was like, we should do a cooking special. And Adam once again said, no, I'm not
Yeah.
ready.
right.
Yeah, and I mean,
We
I
need
think,
more.
and we didn't need too much more, but we needed just enough to be able to
Right.
really showcase like angle on him and I while he's
Yeah.
cooking, and also being able to see what the hell he's doing and
Yeah.
having good lighting, and you know, it's like we want to put in some effort so when people watch it, it's nice to look at it and it's nice to listen to.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's just like a reflection of our skill set. And if we're putting content on our channel that isn't at least decent looking, then like
People won't pay attention.
yeah, you
there's
know?
there's a certain level of quality. But
Yeah.
all that to say, this episode is brought to you by proud viewers like you. Thank you.
Yeah.
PBS style.
That's right.
Remember what is that? What he says?
Tibbs-
The
Tibbs
PBS,
style.
the PBS guy.
Yeah.
Was I the only broke one that grew up watching PBS?
No, man.
Am I lost here? What's going
Not at
on?
all. Did you know that Arthur from PBS only like recently stopped
Yeah,
new episodes?
yeah.
Like it went for like
Really?
20
Yeah.
something
It was
years.
a
I
really
like,
long running
what?
show. Yeah,
That's
for sure.
crazy. What did you just suggest? You just
My
suggested the
volume,
green.
dude.
It's a little hot. It's a little
green-
hot.
Which one's my volume?
I'm pink.
the-
You're blue.
Yeah, you're blue.
Okay, thank
Can
God.
you turn it
Which-
down
Just,
a little
it
bit?
was just a little loud in my,
Oh,
in my
Hector
ears.
needs a loud,
Okay.
loud.
No, hang on.
Oh,
hang on.
Hector.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
That's more
Is that
comfortable.
better?
Is this me
Yeah, that's
now
you.
in
that's you.
here?
No, that's you to yourself.
That's you.
What you
what's,
hear.
What's coming
you're-
into here?
This knob controls what you hear from
Thank
all
you.
of us.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nicer. So
Yeah.
if I go like this, it's
Yeah.
like
So
Yeah.
we'll keep talking and you turn it down and
Yeah.
then you'll see that.
And
yeah,
whatever sounds good to you.
Whatever's
Okay.
coming.
It doesn't affect the output though.
This is your control right there.
Yeah.
that's
Is
nice.
that better?
Yeah.
It was blasting.
Yeah, it
in my
was
ears.
blasting in my ears too.
It was a little loud for me, but
Again,
I'm
we're getting
used.
used to this. We're getting
Yeah.
used to having a new piece of tech
Okay.
that actually sounds really crispy.
There you go.
So the
There you
files
go.
are in the computer. Is what you're telling me?
They're on the online.
in the computer.
Computer.
What cloud?
What cloud? He was in Guardians, by the way.
I know.
Rocky Balboa.
You said you had a question you were going to ask.
Yeah, go for
Well,
it. Shoot.
I mean, yeah, it's very pertinent to what this week is and what today is. I don't know if you guys know what today is.
Okay, so it's
very
not
CzechXicans
It's
of
not
us.
related to what I was going to bring up.
Don't- is it
no,
Mexican
not at
Mother's
all.
Day? Dude, I called
Mexican
my mom
Mother's
and I
Day?
didn't even say Mexican Mother's
Is that
Day.
right?
Oh my God.
Ay.
Okay, so we
So that's
should.
why Cynthia's been telling you to call your mom.
Exactly.
I'm in trouble.
I tried to call my mom and she didn't answer, but I'll call her after the show. But yeah, today is Mexican Mother's Day. So congrats or happy Mother's Day to all you Mexican moms who are watching. But it's a huge day. Like to this day, Mexicans in the U.S., and Mexicans in Mexico celebrate Mother's Day. This is the Mother's Day. And to my mom and every other Mexican mom that I know, this is like their Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And so it's we tend not to celebrate that Sunday, the Sunday that is American Mother's Day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the whole big thing. Take them out to dinner, do the whole shebang and all that stuff. So so I wanted to run back and ask you guys your favorite memories with your moms. If you have like a favorite memory, do you have
serious?
A favorite memory?
Wow.
Do you have like a favorite thing that your mom used to cook you? Do you have like a moment where you're like, my mom's rad? Like I really like this.
I have one of those, but I'm not going to share it because it is it's a little scandaloso. But I'm very proud of my mom. I can tell you guys after, but I'm very like.
Okay, the second one after that.
I'm trying
the one
to think.
after that.
Okay, I got one, and it's kind of. Also, I don't know if this is too controversial. I'll say it. My mom enrolled us in. She signed us up for. We joined a church when I was 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, because she was also raised Catholic, but it was not a great experience for her, as I'm sure a lot of very traditional Catholic people might understand.
Yeah.
So when she was very young, when she was a teenager, she's like, this isn't going to work for me. So she kind of got out of that and made her own decisions and did a lot of things like saying to herself, if I'm ever going to get married, which she did eventually to my dad, I want it to be for me. Like I'm going to love the person. I'm not going to necessarily do it because it's expected of me. And if I ever want to have kids, which she did, me and a sister of mine,
Nice.
I want it to be on my own terms and because I want to have kids at the age I want to have. Like all these things that seem very standard
Right.
were like kind of, from my view, a little radical for her upbringing that was very, very traditional. Like, no, you marry young and you have kids immediately and you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I was a little kid, she was like, well, Catholicism didn't work for me, but maybe my children, maybe I need religion. So she found a church and signed up for it in San Diego, California, and everything was going fine for a little while. And then she, after a year or so, and I had like made friends in the church, like a little kid was my best friend in the church, and she had made friends and neighbors and stuff, and there was community there. A year or so into it, she was telling her friends at church, I want to go back to get a job. I want to go to work. Because she wasn't working since she had me and my sister. She's like, I want to go back into the workforce to like help my husband. And they were like, oh, no. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You should just be the stay-at-home mom and support your husband. And she was like, excuse me?
She said,
know.
But she said, not for me. No. So we really left that organization.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew we left when I was little. And then as I got older, she kind of told me why. And I was like, I was like,
makes
that's
sense.
badass. Because again, certain aspects of American life are like, everything is very modern and progressive and equality. But other aspects of American life, whether it's cultural, societal, whatever your community is, can be really throwback, traditional, old school. And you go, what? People really think that way or feel that way or feel that they need to be that way because of their affiliations,
whatever upbringing,
whatever, family, religion, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I am very proud of my mom for. She would make like tough calls like that. And she'd be like, nope, I don't necessarily want my family to be this way. So we're going to do this and continue to, and then she went to work and bought her own car and things that are like, just like, Hector, this isn't special. Again, depending on who you're talking
it
to,
is, though.
It's a big deal. This is radical feminism.
Right.
Depending on where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So what about you guys?
I don't necessarily have one specific memory, but kind of like what you're talking about, I have a massive appreciation for my mom because she raised 2 boys on her own.
Yeah.
And she had help from my grandparents and my aunt too. But my family, just like all of our families, they're immigrants, right? And it's just so now being 35 and seeing what my mom was doing at 35, it really makes you appreciate your parents and your family and how much they do for you. Because at 35, She had me when she was a little bit younger, but my brother was 5, and I was already like in high school at that point. I think beginning of high school.
Yeah.
Or maybe middle school. I don't remember exactly. But I don't know. It's just so crazy to think about. If I think about myself right now and to be 35 and have 2 kids, I would be drowning. I would be drowning.
No.
I can't even comprehend, and I can't even like.
Yeah,
I can't even make sense of how she was able to do everything that she did to be able to like
To
put a roof over our head.
Immigrate first of all, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
To come here from a foreign country,
yeah.
to raise 2 kids, and like by the time she was 30, that's when she started to find jobs and kind of transition to different industries, where she started making for a single person
a livable
wage. But she still struggled because we live in California, and if you don't have that second income, it's hard. It's really hard. It's
really tough.
But she made it work, and she never. My brother was little, first of all, but I would never been able to tell whether or not my mom was struggling. If she was, she put on a performance that deserves an Oscar.
Absolutely, yeah.
And she hid whatever struggle she was going through.
Yeah.
And gave us I have nothing to complain about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I had food on the table, roof over my head, clothes on my back, and I never had to question anything.
You're a happy kid.
Yeah.
You're loving Batman.
Yeah.
You're running around playing Super Soakers, Power Rangers.
I got to travel as a kid.
Right.
Meanwhile, our moms are like cooking and struggling and all
making
these
it happen
jobs.
behind the scenes.
And we're like,
Yeah, I know. So it's all my memories. It's something that I talk about with friends and my girlfriend all the time about man, it's so crazy to think about, because once you get to our age in our mid-30s, some people want to have kids, some people don't. That's totally fine. But when you start having those conversations, you're like, damn, man, that's like a lot of responsibility.
I know.
And some families and some parents had kids very, very young. And I'm like, I don't know how you did it.
I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know,
So
man.
yeah,
a lot of it's
That's
not
tough.
planned. A lot of it's
yeah, sure.
A lot of it is cultural.
My mom says I was planned, but my mom says my sister was a surprise.
Yeah.
But they, right after I was born, her and my father, who are now since divorced for many years, but when they were together, her and my dad were trying to have another baby pretty soon after me.
Okay.
And it wasn't happening for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then the surprise happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, my mom was like 22 when she had me.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having a kid at 22 years?
No way,
Remember
dude.
you at 22?
No way, bro. I
couldn't-
was
I
the
could-
dumbest sack of shit,
Yeah.
dude,
I
at
was-
22.
At 22,
no
I
joke.
moved to LA. And
At 22,
I was weeping
Yeah.
in my car driving up the 5 going,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh my God.
At 22, I went
I-
to San Diego. I moved to San Diego,
Yeah.
actually, to go to the Art Institute.
Was I I'm trying to remember at 22 how old I was when I think I may have already been graduated from Art Institute at age 22, but
Maybe.
But I'm like, I must have been working in San Diego.
Well,
I'm
we
like,
were
I
already
could
a
not have-
legend.
I was like, I could not have had a kid.
No.
With the job I had.
No.
You know,
We were
No
working
way.
10, 12-hour days. And
Yeah.
it's
and
just not
again,
sustainable.
we had coworkers that were dads,
That's
that were
right.
moms, that
And
were
they
I'm
made
like,
it happen.
like,
True.
how the
Yeah.
hell are you guys doing this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I'm like, I'm not taking care of myself with this job, and you're taking care of another human being.
Barely
Yeah.
making my car
A
prices
tiny baby?
here.
A tiny baby?
Straight
How you
up.
doing it? How you doing
Yeah,
it?
that's
crazy.
dude.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Anyway, big ups to moms. What about
Yeah.
you, Augustine? What's your favorite mom memory?
I don't have an absolute favorite. Because I know from what my mom, it was just being constant. Like she was there
Yeah.
all the time through everything. Whether it be good, whether it be bad. Like I got in trouble a lot because I was a little travieso, mocoso, little garbage kid.
Just all the
But
adjectives.
even through all the good stuff, I remember her being there through all of that stuff. And one of the things she taught me, which it sounds bad the way I'm going to say it, but she taught me not to trust people because I was a really dumb trusting kid. Like I would
It's a good
trust
lesson.
anybody.
Agustin Lollipop. Okay.
Well, that's why when
Yeah.
I watch shows, my first
Yeah.
instinct is like, fuck that guy. I don't trust that guy.
Yeah,
like he's
yeah.
got something, and most of the time it's right.
You're talking about fictional characters, fuck
Yeah.
that guy, but also reality TV. You're like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
What are they doing
90
on this?
Day.
That,
fuck
but
that guy
also I
energy.
feel like I'm a really good judge of character, and I can weed people out, and read
It's-
people really quickly and
Yeah.
know if I'm
Yeah.
gonna be friends with somebody
Yeah.
or not. Like the first
Sure.
time I met you,
Yeah.
in that classroom,
Yeah.
I was like, I need to be friends with that guy. I need to
That's
I need to
awesome.
be closer to that guy because I know this guy and I can read his personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
That's
like
a
I
great
said,
lesson.
it sounds bad,
No,
but at the
it's
same
not.
time, I remember she would always tell me like, don't be trusting everybody.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
be doing that because that's going to get
Yeah.
you in trouble.
Yeah.
And so that was
yeah.
like a weird, tough, good lesson to learn because, there was lots of good times. I remember like as a kid, her reading to me, and that was always like she was learning English as she was reading to me in English.
Yeah.
So she was using
Yeah.
those kids' books to learn English while she was reading to me, and she couldn't pronounce kitchen,
Yeah.
and she kept saying chicken. And I was like, we were just
Yeah.
laughing and laughing and
hilarious.
laughing because she
It's
couldn't
hilarious.
say, because I knew it. And so she couldn't say kitchen. And so it was just really, really funny.
Yeah.
Dude,
But also,
me and my sister, mostly me, I would rag on my mom's pronunciation.
Oh, yeah.
so much
yeah.
as a kid.
Yeah.
I am surprised I survived. It was a lot of like, Mom, I know you can say share.
Yeah.
So
And you can
tell
say
me to,
chair.
Tell me to share my food, not chair my food, and tell me to sit in the chair, not sit in the share. And she
Right,
would just be
exactly.
like, "Shut up!" Like it's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah.
But all that stuff. So my mom is also the matriarch of the house. So
For sure.
I grew up in kind of a backwards house because my dad gave all the reverence to my mom.
Yeah.
When normally in like traditional Latino households, right, it's like the macho dad runs the show.
It is.
It was never like that at home. Like
But-
every time my mom did something, my dad
Yeah.
was like, "You make sure to thank your mom. She made
That's great.
all of this happen."
You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah,
think
it's crazy.
More of that should happen.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot in from what I have observed in my family and stuff. There's a lot in Mexican tradition of like having the household be a matriarchal.
Right.
Like you're right.
Right.
Like the guy is socially and oftentimes economically in a better spot.
mhm.
The men in the family, and they're kind of like treated better.
Mhm.
But if there's like a grandma,
Yeah.
it's just like the movie
Oh, yeah.
Coco.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just
Oh,
like
yeah.
Encanto.
She
Like
rules.
if there's a
She
grandma,
rules the family.
rules
Yeah.
for better or worse. Sometimes grandmas they can use their powers for evil, not just for good.
Yeah.
But but it is interesting, even if there are like strong and assertive men in a family thing in Mexico or in Mexican culture.
Mhm.
If there's a lady who is older than that boy, she's in charge.
Yeah.
She's absolutely in charge.
Yeah.
She's the grandma. She's
Yeah.
abuela, abuelita. She's in charge.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And so that was my mom, not even in a nutshell. Like there's so
Yeah.
many other things. Like I remember her cooking for me. Like I had this job once when I finished the Art Institute and came back home. There was a job that I had that was right next to work, and she was like,
Is
"Don't
this an
take
in and out or no?
No.
Okay.
It was that UPS call center job. That
Oh,
terrible
wow.
job.
Talked about this.
And it was horrible. But
For
she
more
was-
on that, listen to older episodes.
Yeah,
of
older
Check.
episode, last
Previous
episode of
episode.
CzechXicans. And so she knew I was having a hard time at work. Like I would
Yeah.
come and like tell them about the horrible calls, and she would tell me like, "Don't take lunch to work. Just come back home. I'll feed you." Like all
Oh,
this
nice.
stuff. And she would always make me a nice meal, make sure I was nice and calm before I went back to work, and then like I went back to work, right? And so it's like
Wow.
these constant little things
That's
that was
great.
just like. She was always there through like the thick and the thin, like
yeah.
all of it. I got a lot of ass whoopings, but I deserve them. I will recognize that I deserve them.
Yeah.
And when she was there, when she needed to be there, she was there. And so
And now you're a good judge of character.
props
I love
to
that.
moms.
Yeah,
like
man.
she taught me to grow emotionally. It's great. Like I can't say enough good things.
And I
about
think,
her.
and I don't know like how accurate this is, but I definitely experienced this in my life. I feel like single parents, especially moms, they always are, not always, but they do get looked down on.
Oh yeah.
Quite a
There's a
bit.
lot of stigma.
A lot of people be like, "Oh, she's not good."
Single moms.
I guess she's not good enough. She's
Yeah.
not good enough for somebody. Not good enough for a man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I've never heard anyone say that specifically about my mom, because if I
Right.
did, I would choke them to death.
You'd be in jail.
I would beat
You would
them.
be in
I
jail.
would beat the soul out of their fucking body.
But
Yeah.
did you ever feel that kind of judgment?
I did, but
You know
and
what
it
I mean?
mostly came from what my mom's comments of saying things like, don't tell people how old you are, because I was,
Right,
older, and she
right.
was a young mom.
I see,
And I'm
Wow.
like, Mom, like I get
Yeah,
it. I totally get
right.
it, but at the same time,
Doesn't
you have nothing
matter.
to be ashamed
Right.
of.
Right.
You
You
know
know,
what
like
that-
you raised two kids.
Yeah.
One who's like, at the time I was doing visual effects in the industry, so I felt pretty successful.
Yeah.
And my brother was a hockey player.
Pooping his pants.
Yeah, pooping his pants and playing hockey. And
diapers,
I'm
yeah.
like, I think you're doing okay here, Mom.
Yeah.
These are like you're running around families who have dual incomes, and they work in like medical and biotech, and they make like $500,000 a year on one
right,
income.
right.
And I'm like, you're doing what they're doing, so
Yeah.
like, don't fucking judge yourself.
She was doing what they could never do.
Yeah,
Right.
She was doing what they could
Right.
never do. You
Yeah.
know what that
Exactly.
reminds me of? I went to Disneyland with my girlfriend a few weeks ago, and when we were there, we went to the Finding Nemo submarine voyage, and we're in line, and in front of us was was what's that?
Yeah, get that in there. Get that in there. Make
There
sure
was-
you get that
there was-
crispy audio.
There was a mom in line in front of us, maybe our age, maybe younger, really like normal looking, very nice young mom. And she had this adorable like toddler little girl. And the girl was so cute and kind of like wandering around a little bit. The mom was like, okay, come over here. You know, the
Yeah.
way parents do. But she
Yeah.
wasn't like disruptive or anything.
Yeah.
And that thing where I think other adults in line were kind of like, hi. Like it wasn't like,
Yeah,
hey.
you're nice to the baby,
Right,
especially
right.
at Disneyland.
I honestly, I had to check my own self because in my brain, I did clock that I'm like, oh, she's here on I think it was a weekday.
yeah,
I'm like, she's here on a weekday with her kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they looked alike. So I'm pretty sure it was her like biological daughter, could have been adopted, could have been, obviously you don't know the situation.
Right.
But I did make the thought of like, oh, there's no like dad here. There's no
Yeah.
other parent to like, and then
Support or whatever,
and then I
yeah.
stopped myself and I went, hang on a minute. She's crushing it. She
Yeah.
brought her kid to Disneyland.
In the middle of
that
the
is
day
a
on a
feat,
weekday.
bro.
That is a feat.
That is a
and,
feat.
and there's no
Jesus.
meltdown. There's no crying. It's
Yeah.
like cool. And we're
Yeah.
waiting in line. And she seemed really lovely. And the
Yeah.
little girl was lovely. And let me tell you, man, they when they got in the submarine with us, we sat next to them. This mom was like, had the phone ready and she was making memories.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
little girl was losing her shit at the Nemo ride.
yeah.
She said something, I swear, she said something fake sounding and adorable where she was like, this is the best day of my life. Like she was so excited. And the mom was just like handling it.
Living it
and
up,
so
yeah.
I checked myself with my brain and I went, I don't know what her situation is.
Yeah.
Her situation could
Maybe
be
your husband is at work.
exactly. Maybe her
Yeah.
husband's in another part of the park with their other kid. Like I'm
Right,
like,
right.
I'm like, I can't believe I basically judged her or
Yeah.
judged the situation when I have no idea. But she could also be single mom by herself here with her kid.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, this woman is crushing it. Good for her. She's awesome. Like, and it's not even just. The cool thing is especially in a place like Disneyland,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are very understanding for what that is. But I've even seen on planes sometimes a parent
Yeah.
by themselves,
Yeah.
stressed obviously with a kid. Other people on an airplane will be like, "I got you. No, we can do. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like
Oh,
help
baby,
each
or
other,
whatever, yeah.
help,
Compassionate to the
help each other.
situation.
You
Yeah.
know, so thankfully Disneyland,
Yeah.
the happiest place on earth. Of course, other adults were. You could tell they're kind of like looking out.
Yeah,
and everything's
yeah.
cool. But it wasn't like the kid was like about to fall in the water. Like it was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, no, dude, she's crushing it. Like,
Yeah.
what an amazing mom. And
Yeah.
it just made me like, oh man, this is great. And I got to see that kid create, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
like, this is
create a memory.
fantastic.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is great. So
Exactly.
for
sometimes
sure.
you got to check those internal biases,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, you do. You do.
But that's how we grow. That's how we grow.
That's how we grow.
Like
That's how
so-
we grow.
So do we want to do some questions from Patreon?
Wait,
first?
Adam
Do
had
we wanna
another
do-
question. Do we
Oh,
want to? Did you?
Okay.
Oh no.
Okay.
I don't know if
fuck that
I just
question.
no. I just wanted to. We're in the middle of the writer strike.
Oh, yeah, we have to
that's
talk about
right.
that.
We do
Yeah,
have
we're in
to
the middle of the
talk
writer
about
strike. A lot
yeah.
is going on. A lot
Yeah.
is going on. Obviously,
Stranger Things shut down.
yeah,
Netflix's biggest show
Yeah.
has stopped pre-production for their
yeah.
next
It's still
season.
starting up. Yeah,
Andor. Now we don't know if Andor has shut down, but
I don't
we
think
learned,
production has shut down.
But we learned Tony Gilroy's like, I'm not working on it
yeah,
because he's a showrunner, and they asked
Slash
him
writer,
to do
slash
showrunner duties.
producer, yeah.
But you can't be a showrunner.
right.
I'm really so appreciative of everybody who is involved in this being so forthcoming and sharing so much of, because it's not just, hey, this is what the deal for the Writers Guild came to the Producers Guild with, and they said no.
Right.
And they'd said no in kind of an insulting way,
Yeah.
which is sort of like roll your
Come on,
eyes, like,
guys.
come on, guys.
Yeah.
But now all these other writers are being like, okay, let's break this down. On 2017, I got booked on an animated show. This was the thing. This was the thing because it was only 8 episodes. I couldn't further in my career, this, and this.
Yeah.
And they're breaking it down in such a way where I'm like, this is bullshit, man.
It's
It's
so
such bullshit.
seeing people do that where they do the breakdowns.
Oh,
Because I think you know.
I'm just saying, I'm lurning a lot. and
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Really
and
appreciative
on
of that.
social media, I think it's so easy to be like, these writers are complaining. They're fucking
Right.
complaining about it. They're writing
Yeah, they're
movies
all
and they're writing
millionaires.
shows.
Yeah.
But then
Nah,
once you
dude.
see the breakdown of how everything works and the deals in place for writing an episode, writing
Yeah.
a season, no
Yeah.
guarantees here, no guarantees there, no medical, no this, no that.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
that's not fair.
Yeah.
If you have writers in a writer's room every single day for the entirety of a production and the production lasts 5-6 months, and there is no security or there's no support, whether it's financial, medical, or otherwise, like That should not be the case.
Yeah.
And I hate seeing the narrative on social media where people are like, oh, but it's art and your guys already get compensated too much. Like I genuinely, and I know that this is such a small pocket of social media and most of these people are so unaware and so dumb that they have no clue what they're even talking about.
I don't know how Hollywood works.
But the people who are like, but the people who literally think that people who create art do not deserve compensation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Those people,
I don't understand why you think that.
I get it.
It's just so weird to me. I don't
think
get it.
it's full on tribalism and very political.
Oh yeah.
And people who take that stance, I think, are people who have aligned themselves with a like right wing ideology, and it sucks, man, because right wing ideology flat out sucks.
Yeah,
it's not cool.
Yeah,
it is oppressive, and especially when issues arise in the real world that do end up targeting like vulnerable groups, or that Hollywood, there's a lot of people who work in Hollywood who are gay or are people of color, and so right wing ideology will be like, okay, fuck those people. It's like, so they're not worth like engaging in any of that kind of. On top of, there are people who I do think, and I count myself as one of them, are ignorant to the specifics and the processes of the entertainment industry in varying levels.
I mean,
we have certain experience, but
exactly.
I still don't. Nobody really knows.
Our experience is very different from
when you're
writers.
in the trenches.
Yes,
Is when you
right,
know.
Yes.
But
But
we had a very different experience.
people need to be compensated and paid fairly,
Yeah.
and just enough to like. The writers are just like, I just want to be able to have a house and a family in Los Angeles and work.
Yeah.
You know who's really good to follow right now? If you guys don't follow him, Adam Conover from Adam Ruins Everything.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
He is
Conover's
insanely
great,
smart.
yeah.
The way
Yes.
he's breaking all of this down was just so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Today he posted something about how companies are posting these safe zones for trucks to go in and out and busting picket lines accidentally, and like these tricky things that they do to like try to dissuade people from going out and picketing and like standing up for themselves. So make sure you follow him if you're interested in the writer strike at all, and you're on the writer's side.
I've learned a lot
because he's a really good resource.
The thing that I've found that's been really refreshing is as more and more images and video come out. Like today I saw Matt Reeves was out there with Mattson Tomlin, and they're writing the Batman.
We still recording?
Yeah, we're good.
we're good.
Christopher Nolan was out there with his brother Jonah Nolan. So I think like it really requires that caliber of artist and creator who are so well known across the industry to actually go out there and, even if they're not saying anything, to just have a presence there and someone capturing that.
Push their weight a little bit.
Exactly, because then I think people who are not so in tune with what's happening can look at that and go, okay, if Christopher Nolan's out there, then it must be important. If Matt Reeves is out there, it must be important. And because I think a lot of people, like a lot of people that we see out there, they're people within our circles. They're people that we
have
know.
a lot of friends on the line.
Yeah, a lot of friends.
Yeah,
a lot of
absolutely.
friends. And if you're just maybe like a general movie goer or TV show viewer, you may not know a lot of those people. And so you might look at it like, oh, well, it's just like people at the bottom. But it's not. It's those people and it's everybody else too. And
it's
as
also,
we know in the industry, like it takes so much time to work up to the level where you are compensated in a way that it makes it sustainable and livable. And it's not like that in the beginning. I mean, we know that from our VFX experience. We were making I mean, not that we were making minimum wage.
Dude.
We were making money, but
I know
for how much work and time and
why
effort.
why we made pretty good money at times is because of the overtime.
Overtime.
That's the only reason I was able to survive.
Yeah,
Which
if we
is
were on
like-
salary, oh my God, it would have been
rough.
wrecked.
Yeah,
But what you're saying too, Adam, is that like it also comes down to what's involved in these negotiations is a sort of basic respect, because these things, these concerns are being brought up. AI technology, Chat GPT or whatever, like these programs that could maybe do some kind of algorithmic computer artificial intelligence writing and cut out writers from the process. And the Writers Guild is like, so we don't want any of this. This is very, very bad. And the Producers Guild was apparently like, we'll give you guys a meeting about it every year. We'll have a meeting with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why you have people who, even at the top, J.J. Abrams, I saw, was on one of the picket lines, who, by all accounts, are set. They're successful. They don't need to.
He doesn't have to bother himself with this.
Right. But they're doing it. And you're Matt Reeves and all these other showrunners and various, actors are coming in, and actors who are both actors and writers. Some of the crew from like Ted Lasso, Brett Goldstein was there.
A bunch of
plays Rory
Arrowverse
Kent.
crew.
And they're there because it comes down to basic respect. And these terms are like, even for people at the very top, your writer directors at the top,
Yeah.
they're looking at this stuff too and going, is a studio going to, if a studio is willing to just cancel
Universal's going to go,
Batgirl,
Christopher Nolan, how about we have ChatGPT make you an outline,
First draft.
and then you can go and can reconfigure
And then
it.
you worry about it after.
all in an
no.
effort to save money as opposed to respecting
The art.
writing, respecting this process, which is all about creatives,
yeah.
you know, at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean,
You know what I do like?
Yeah.
What I like is that a couple of articles have come out and been like, here's the shows that are being canceled or disrupted because of these strikes.
Right.
Here's what's going to be affected.
Yeah.
Here's the SNL hosts you're missing out because SNL had to shut down.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people online are going, that's bullshit. Stop trying to side with the Producers Guild. What the real issue is, here's the stuff you're missing out on because the Producers
Yes.
Guild isn't willing to come to the table in good
It's the
faith.
way that the narrative is
Yes.
is presented, and I think
They're
that,
blaming
appreciate
the
that.
artists instead
Yeah.
of blaming
Nah.
the producers.
I saw those and I was like, that is unbelievable that you're going to blame the writers.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what the issue is.
Yeah.
Just say what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's super frustrating.
I think they're going to win, and I
Oh, they absolutely
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They absolutely
Yeah.
are.
It's
just
I
like-
think
Let's be-
negotiations started today, actually.
Really?
I think they started today, not to say that they're going anywhere, but I
Right,
think today
right,
was
right,
like
right.
the first official days of negotiation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could go on for a while. They could end tomorrow. Who
Yeah.
knows?
And
Like,
and you know, it's just like it's so
Can I ask a stupid question?
no.
for it.
I mean, yes, but I'm sure it's not stupid.
No,
Sorry.
Thank you.
Shut up,
Very
dude.
sweet. Very sweet.
Hey, just turn off his mic.
Adam, you were like, don't talk about my friend like that. So stupid. But I saw somebody ask the same thing, and I was thinking about this. I'm like, why doesn't a studio step forward and be like, okay, we will honor all of those asks. Have writers come work for us. We want production to resume with our stuff. So yeah, we'll like what, and then they would be like the hero,
Right.
But it's like, but they couldn't because
it's
they're
the
those
union.
Yeah.
producers are in their producer union.
Well,
Right.
not necessarily. I don't know if there is a producer.
There is.
union.
Producers
Producer
Guild,
Guild,
I
Yeah,
guess.
something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
PGA.
yeah.
But it
Yeah.
needs to be a consensus with
Gotcha,
the guild
gotcha.
of the writers.
Yeah,
Like it needs.
the
So
PGA.
there are union representatives, and there's people who are representing all of the artists, and so there
one
needs to
company
be
couldn't just go and be
exactly.
I think
hero.
I think
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
have a like splintering effect with
Yeah.
how they're able to work with other guilds
Right,
and
exactly.
stuff.
I
Exactly.
see.
So I think it's
so-
got to be
Yeah.
like one. The union has to stick together and make a deal for everybody across all the studios.
Yeah.
Wow.
Otherwise, it's going to be
Even
an issue.
Stevens.
Yeah, it's going to
Because then Disney can make a deal, and then some
Yeah.
other studio could come in, but we'll compromise, and we won't
Yeah.
get you everything Disney would.
Well,
but,
we'll do
but here's
5%
what we'll do
less
for
of
you.
what Disney's doing, but 5%
Yeah.
more than what Fuse is doing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like
so I
that
think
kind of thing.
that's why it has to be like an across the board
Yeah.
thing. That way, a studio can't come in and try to
Yeah.
Undercut.
you
Yeah.
exactly,
scab
and
the other
undervalue.
studios. They couldn't scab the other
Right.
studios.
Right,
They're like,
exactly.
we're not.
Because then it turns
Yeah.
into what happens in the VFX industry, where you're just
Yeah.
bidding, and whoever bids the lowest gets the job.
Yep.
You know,
Man.
Then it turns into that
then
shit
it
show.
turns into that shit show, and nobody
Yeah.
wants that. So
That's why I'm no
Man.
longer a VFX artist.
yeah,
It's all-
so it's I don't know.
it's all related, man.
Hopefully, it all works out for
Anyways,
the writers.
Long story
Yeah.
short,
Yeah.
we're in support of the
Yeah,
writers. We love you
absolutely.
all and we'll support you
Absolutely.
all.
Fully,
but
fully.
let's focus on some good ass writing, y'all. What happened in this movie, y'all?
Oh, you want to do that, or are we doing questions?
I
What
think we
do?
should, and I think we should do this,
And then we'll
Okay.
do
and then we'll move
questions.
on to questions.
Yeah.
And with questions, but I think what we
He's
just
so
saw.
excited.
I'm so excited. This movie broke me, you guys. This
I
movie
think-
was insane.
I think you liked it probably more than Adam or I.
Oh yeah, I liked it more than either of you combined. Like this
Maybe.
movie
Yeah, I mean, I
broke
yeah.
me.
I
It was-
I
loved it
really
too.
loved it.
Yeah,
but
I
I think
loved
you
it.
love it more.
I
than I
love
loved
it. This movie
Oh,
spoke
I
to
haven't-
me on.
I haven't checked your ranking. What's it? Is it number one?
I
of
haven't
all
put
MCU?
it. I mean, yeah, right now it's number one in all the MCU, but I only have 6 movies in there.
Okay,
so
Yeah,
it
that's true.
doesn't- that
You're,
doesn't
you're
really
starting
matter.
starting anew.
Fair.
But let's start off with your guys' initial thoughts. This is going to be a spoiler review. Are we doing spoilers right off the bat?
We can do non-spoiler for a sec.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Then
My
I guess-
non-spoiler thoughts are pretty short. So.
And
Okay.
it's been out for a minute. We're late, so
I mean, we are kind of late, but let's kind of keep it non-spoiler initially.
Non-spoiler thoughts are: it's great.
Uh-huh.
It's better than great. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It made me cry,
Mm-hmm.
and I am so excited that these characters happened.
Yeah.
And I'm also trying not to get my hopes up I'm trying not to get too invested because it's a great sort of ending.
Yeah.
But I would also be stoked to see some or all of these characters again.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I'll leave it at. So just an overall great example of like how great Marvel can be, and it all comes back to the writer, James Gunn,
100%,
respecting that writer,
got to respect the writer.
Yeah.
What do you think, Adam?
I think because of everything that's been happening with James Gunn, you know, leaving Marvel, going to DC, and then coming back, and now running DC. My excitement for James Gunn as a creator elevates every time some new piece of information comes out.
Sure.
So going into this movie, I really was like, okay, I'm so excited to see what he does with these characters.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see how he kind of concludes this trilogy. And, you know, they've obviously been in more movies than just the 3 Guardians films, but I'm so excited to see how personal he makes it and what's going to be James Gunn's take on what happens to these characters at the end of the line.
Yeah.
And it was so satisfying and so fun and so funny. And I think the things that maybe I was missing a little bit in volume 2, but were massively present in volume 1 are back in the forefront in volume 3.
Best way.
And it has even a little bit more emotional depth because of things that happen. So I just felt so satisfied as a viewer because I felt like my emotions were doing this the whole time. And I feel like that's what they should be doing in a movie that is a concluding chapter of a trilogy. So I had an amazing time watching
100%,
this.
yeah. This movie fired on literally all cylinders. The VFX, incredible.
God damn.
Incredible.
Really great.
The 3D, some of the
my
best
God.
3D I've ever seen.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
If you have a chance to go
Clean
watch this in
and
3D,
good.
Yeah, dude.
go watch this in 3D because you have to do it. Best soundtrack for me of any Guardians movie.
Yeah.
I would. That's my own personal thing. I know you're
Yeah.
partial to the first one.
I think you can argue that the third one has the best soundtrack. I think you can make the argument that the first one has the best soundtrack.
Right.
But that's a solid
Yeah,
trilogy.
those are two solid soundtracks.
I've also seen people argue, if we're talking about the trilogy as a whole, I've also seen people make the argument that the second one is the best of the Guardians. And I think that the second Guardians films is strong enough that you can make that argument. It's not like,
Right.
It's not like
yeah.
you're crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that comes down to personal
Yeah,
preference. But
absolutely.
dude, 1 and 3 are
1 and 3 are just
Amazing.
on a whole nother level. But what shines above everything else is the work that James Gunn did with each one of these characters. Like
Agreed.
I equate
agreed.
the writing that he did here to writing on par with like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Every character had a nice arc to him.
Yeah.
You cared about every single person in
Yeah.
this. You noticed their quirks. You noticed why you like them, first of all. They're not just like the a-holes you love, right? Like they're people. And you feel very connected to each one of them. And I feel like that's what I was missing from the initial 1 and 2. Like I knew these were funny, goofy dudes, like that were really quirky and they were fun to like be a part of their adventures. But in this movie, you really get emotionally attached to every single one of them because you see how much they care about each other as friends.
It's awesome.
Like the other movies were about like parent issues and like being an outcast and things like that, as Star-Lord was. But this one, it's like the homies being homies, and why do these homies love each other?
Yeah.
Like this is them. This is the Guardians melding and becoming, in my opinion, my favorite Marvel team at this point because they're just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and I think it's so impressive because they were such. I mean, I had no clue who the Guardians of the Galaxy were when I sat in the Comic-Con panel in 2013, and they're like, "We're making this movie, Guardians of the Galaxy." James, I didn't know who James Gunn was either. I was like, I don't know. And then they played the trailer, and it was Hooked on a Feeling, and I was like, okay, this is different. I'm into this. This is some stylish shit. Okay.
Right.
And then we got that. And now to be on the other end of it and seeing the concluding part of the story, I'm like, I think it's so massively impressive to take an IP or a Marvel property that is so like under the radar and to make it so beloved.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen. You know, like it's not always the case that you take even a well-known property and make it even that much more beloved.
Yeah.
And I think it's a huge accomplishment to have done that.
I think it's a huge accomplishment. I also think that not to take away anything from what James Gunn did, because the reason we love these characters is because of the work he did.
Right. Yeah.
Also, the first movie was the script was written by Nicole Perlman or co-written, or she turned in a draft, and then James Gunn came in and did the James Gunn thing on it. So some credit to her as well. But the other thing I think that helped him was like, these characters were not the most
they're the most pliable,
well-defined in the comic books, as opposed to like, dude, Clark Kent has had a lot of comic book stories.
Captain America, you know,
Steve Rogers,
very well known, very fleshed out,
you know,
characters.
and sometimes the MCU succeeds where it's like, if you think that Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark is better than the comic book version of Tony Stark. I believe that because the work was done so well with Iron Man.
Right.
Yeah.
But with certain characters in the MCU, in these adaptations, I'm like, Peter Parker, comics or an MCU adaptation? I could argue for both, but ultimately I might lean towards more like, well, the comic Peter has just done so much more. Like, I'm like, there's so much more to pull from there.
Expansive,
You know, Tom Holland was Peter Parker for 5-6 times or whatever it was. But with these characters, even with the best Guardians of the Galaxy comics, I think James Gunn was able to pull the DNA out of that and go like that plus way more emotion. Even the silly things of like Gamora being trained or raised by Thanos and Nebula also being trained or raised by Thanos in the comic books. James Gunn being like, okay, so they're sisters. And they're coming from this abusive father. And and
what's the story there?
What's the story there? And the emotion is, God, so many moments in this, I was like, you remember how in Endgame, Steve Rogers says, Avengers Assemble, finally? Like they held it. So many things in Volume 3, I'm like, James Gunn, you son of a bitch. You held this until part 3.
Now.
I'm like, I could see now that you plan to do this from all the way back to introducing this character in Volume 1 and Part 1. So should we get into the specifics of the characters?
I think so. I think we're going now into spoiler territory. So
what else you got in that grab bag?
I may have lost one of Drax's knives, which is
oh my god,
not
Lord.
good.
Hector Santiago.
Do you have a hole in the bag?
I'll file, but don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I'll find it. I'll find it later. But let's start with these characters.
So let's talk about our favorite moments from this movie, and then we'll kind of rank them.
Well, here my thing was I wanted to highlight each character and then talk about them in Volume 3. But then after we're done, rank them overall. Be like, who is your favorite Guardian character? And for us to try to come up with a consensus of like who I think is the best member, past or present, of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Do you guys want to try that?
I mean, I can already tell you.
I'm biased. Me too.
I'm biased.
Who's your favorite?
It's Rocket.
Rocket Raccoon.
It's Rocket. I
maybe
can
mine
already
too.
tell you.
Maybe mine too.
Put that boy in the front, bro.
So Rocket's gonna go.
Okay, we're also gonna talk spoilers in this part of the movie. So this is half a Guardians character ranking and half a Guardians 3 spoiler.
I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Rocket stands alone.
I cried.
Yeah, dude.
During all of the Rocket stuff.
Oh my God.
Okay, so we're into spoiler territory now?
Yes, we're in the spoiler territory.
Dude,
now.
when Lila got shot.
Oh my God.
Dude.
I lost it.
Yeah.
I cried like a little baby boy. They were so happy to. And I thought that was just... You guys seen those viral videos of that kid that's just like sobbing and had to be taken out of the theater? And I was like, good. Good. I hope this will be
needs to happen. I hope it's cathartic to you, and I hope you're going to therapy after this. Because
But
there's something that touched you.
That gives me hope.
Right.
Yeah.
That gives me hope that people can be empathetic. And I thought that they did such a great job. And I also love that it wasn't like a crazy sci-fi way that Lila and Teefs and Floor died.
Yeah.
High Evolutionary was just holding a gun.
Yeah.
And I was
just
like,
straight up
fuck
killed
this.
them.
It wasn't
Fuck
like crazy.
guns.
Yeah.
This is awful. This is the worst.
Yeah,
It wasn't a crazy sci-fi. Like, I hit a button and their heads explode.
Yeah.
So it was
Like they didn't turn to goo and
This
like
is-
do all that stuff.
They're just
Straight up just
there.
Yeah.
Just-
I think it's going to be hard to beat Rocket because
I
this was
agree.
Rocket's story. And as they said in the movie, it's been Rocket's story all along.
All along.
And we didn't know.
And you know, it was
Dude,
that
it's
moment
gotta
got me, and then the actual realization or the acceptance
Raccoon.
of the end, where it's like origin North America, species
Yeah.
raccoon.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then seeing the baby, like
Him embracing
just
it.
all of that, and him embracing it. I was like, thank God I have 3D glasses because it was just like.
Also, Adam and I sat one seat. So Adam and I got seats next to each other.
Yeah.
But we always sit one seat
The
apart.
theater was also empty. So
because
3D and
I like my elbow room. Adam needs his elbow room, and so
Yeah.
it's just more comfortable that way.
yeah.
I'm glad we were apart because I was sobbing from frame 1. Right when Creep started playing.
Yeah.
And this only happened on my second viewing. My
Yeah.
first viewing, I was like, oh, I kind of get why they're doing this.
Yeah.
And then on the second viewing, I was like, I know why they're doing this.
It hurts.
It hurts so bad.
I also think that it's interesting that as far as these characters have been in movies and stuff, and they've made toys, they've made merchandise, Rocket has always only ever been Rocket.
Right.
Whereas
And I didn't notice.
I've always noticed, I'm like, oh, he's never, and it's not, and I thought it wasn't
Never being acknowledged.
I'm
as
like, I
Rocket
wonder if it's
Raccoon.
because of the joke that in the movies he's like, I'm not a raccoon.
Yeah.
Right? Because James Gunn wanted to pay that off and have a part 3 where he embraces the fact that he's Rocket Raccoon. But it's interesting because for the Elizabeth Olsen character, Wanda Maximoff, they made toys and they would straight up label it Scarlet Witch.
Right.
And I'm like, I wonder if James Gunn told somebody at Marvel,
Don't do that.
no, don't. Like if he had enough
Rocket
creative
Raccoon.
input,
Yeah.
right? If he had enough creative input to be like, don't merchandise
save
him
it,
as
save it.
Raccoon, save it.
Most
But
likely.
whoever
Yeah, wouldn't be
was
surprised.
whoever was working on, I don't know, I guess Avengers movies or
Yeah.
wherever, Captain America Civil War,
Yeah.
whatever she was weaving through, they didn't have that foresight to be like, oh, sometimes at some point there'll be a TV show.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
WandaVision,
We'll
well,
define that.
she'll embrace the Scarlet Witch.
Right,
I feel like that kind of came later of like, you know what, technically she's never said it because it's kind of a goofy name.
Yeah.
Why would she, just like her brother was never Quicksilver.
Right.
Yeah.
It was only ever Pietro.
Pietro. Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting, but I think it's very cool that Rocket has only ever been Rocket
Yeah.
until
That's very
now.
cool.
I agree with you guys. He's the number one
it's-
character
yeah,
in the
see,
franchise.
you agree.
Done.
You
okay,
agree.
okay, but if you go
But
back
there's also
to,
worth highlighting some great moments. From
absolutely,
some of the
if you
characters,
go
yeah.
back to the first film, which is these characters that I have here, in my mind, the sort of Star-Lord character is the lead. For me, the second lead is Gamora, then
Yeah.
Drax.
Oh, for sure.
Then the Rocket and Groot
Do
combo.
you
Totally.
have Nebula and you have...
Hang on,
Okay,
we're in the
just
first
making
movie
sure.
right here, baby.
Just
We're in the
making
first
sure.
movie. Of these characters, I'm counting this Groot as a separate character from the baby Groot.
Gotcha.
Who now
Sure,
is,
yeah.
Because
and
to,
Alpha Groot at
because to me,
at the
he,
end of this
yeah,
one.
the
Yeah.
alpha huge Groot.
Yeah.
To me, this character did die, and
Yes.
James Gunn has said
He has acknowledged that, yeah.
there's that this character died, and this new son or progeny or whatever has new memories. Doesn't
Yes.
have this. So I'm like, okay, so it's a new Groot to me. So
Yeah.
between these guys, I love them so much, but I got to put the tall Groot at the least favorite side of the
Old Groot. Okay.
Okay,
Old Groot?
Old
Okay.
Groot is
Okay.
going to be least favorite. But I love him so much. He's the
Yeah.
best. But
He was the one that started it all.
he was great. In
Yeah.
He
that
was our
first movie.
intro to Groot as Groot.
I agree.
Yeah.
So now with these characters, where do you guys want to put the ranking? I have my own ideas.
I would
Who's-
say from Guardians 1, if we're
Yes.
talking Guardians 1,
Yeah.
Yeah. But throughout the franchise,
right, exactly. This
Yeah.
character lost me in the second one,
What?
but came back in the third one, Drax.
Yeah.
So is he now your second
I-
favorite?
No,
compa- just with
in this
these?
lineup,
In this lineup,
he's my second favorite.
look, dude, he's got a knife here. I lost a little knife.
Yeah.
Right here. I'll find
Right.
it. I'll
In
find it.
this
Guardians,
lineup, he's my
in
second
Guardians
favorite.
1, Drax was such a revelation.
Yeah.
Dave Bautista was so amazing in the performance.
Right, yeah.
And I was so just blown away by the performance
Yeah.
and just the accuracy of everything that he would say as Drax and the way it was written.
Right.
That, with Star-Lord, I kind of knew what I was going to get, sort of a thing.
Yes.
And I thought Chris Pratt was great as Star-Lord. I thought Zoe Saldana was great as Gamora. But
Chris Pratt
yeah.
might be the best in Volume 3.
Yeah, I think so.
And also maybe Dave Bautista might be the best in like
Yeah.
Yeah, oh
like
yeah,
you're saying.
absolutely.
But,
Yeah.
but yes,
Absolutely.
keep going. You're talking about the first one.
Yeah,
and-
so I kind of knew what to expect with those characters.
Yeah.
Groot, Rocket, and Drax were, I think, the ones that I was like, all right, let's see how this works.
Surprise.
Groot,
Yeah.
really appreciate. I love the We Are Groot. Rocket, stand out. But then Drax coming in and being the guy who's like, just the way he would say things and the reaction to things.
Yeah.
And that, I think,
The
again, is
comedic timing.
it's
Yeah.
paid off in Volume 3 much better than Volume 2.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And
I
so,
couldn't
yeah,
stand
totally
Drax in
agree.
Volume 2. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it was.
I could
I
not
was just
stand
like,
him.
this feels just
Could
too.
not stand him.
He was mean to Mantis, but
Yeah.
kind of nice, but
Yeah.
mean.
He was dialed up
hideous.
to an 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like whatever Drax was
A little
didn't feel
too dumb. A
believable
little too
because
dumb.
he wasn't dumb. He was just mean sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
mean-spirited
He was
and-
just I didn't
But
really
dude.
enjoy that he was always loud. My favorite Drax moments are where he's quiet.
Yeah.
And where he's like
So funny.
trying to be very serious.
Zargnets.
He's like,
I'm
he's like
invisible.
nothing will go over my head. I will catch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like
in-
that
in-
kind of
in
thing.
this
It's so
movie-
great.
There are no
Two-
more Zargnets.
Yeah.
Two heartbreaking moments that I almost cried in, where it's like, you think I'm stupid? And Mantis goes, yes.
Right.
And he got so sad.
got
And she
really
goes,
sad.
forget.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he was just like, ha, like,
Yeah.
I was like, don't do
Outrageous.
that.
Yeah.
I thought that was, we'll get to Mantis, but
Yeah.
the other one was, so Bautista has talked about how, Dave Bautista has talked about how his character from the first Guardians and in the comics more is someone who wants ultimate revenge on Thanos.
Yes.
Revenge on
Right.
Thanos.
Yes,
and he
yes.
talked about after Infinity War, he was like, yeah, Marvel kind of screwed the pooch on that
Yeah,
storyline.
where was
they
that?
kind of
Yeah.
dropped the ball with Drax being the one who could try to kill or stab or
Thanos,
take
yeah.
Thanos out. And I agree with him if we're looking at this Drax as somebody who's supposed to be an adaptation of the comic book Drax.
Right. This is a different Drax.
But then what James Gunn did in the third one, where they had the moment where Mantis and Nebula were like, you're not Drax the Destroyer. You're always meant to be a father.
Father. Oh my
lost
God.
Oh yeah.
And you know what?
Oh yeah.
Because of Volume 2 and how he's so played up,
Yeah.
truthfully, I forgot that he was a
Oh
dad.
yeah, absolutely.
And you and I talked
Yeah.
about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was saying how Volume 3, that full circle moment, you're
Yeah.
like, he was a fucking dad.
Of course he
I totally
was.
forgot about
Of
that.
course he was. And it's
the
always
payoff is so good.
It's always tied into the themes of. I mean, he was a dad from the first one. He talked about that.
Yeah.
Ronan killed my family.
Yeah.
It's part of the reason why he joined.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why he joined. He became a sort of father to Groot. Certainly, he became an uncle, you know, and a brother to these characters. But to me, this is for these initial characters, my ranking of how much I love them.
Yeah.
From like least loved to maybe most loved. I think that Star-Lord is a great character, and it's definitely Chris Pratt's best character he's ever played.
Yeah, I would agree.
Second would be Parks and Recreation.
Of course. Andy Dwyer,
And he was great in this movie. And what I loved about this movie is that he didn't end up with this new Gamora.
Yeah.
Right.
And Gamora, Zoe Saldana, she was awesome in this movie, but she definitely had the least to do. But that's okay. Do you know why? Gamora's story ended in Infinity War.
It's not the Gamora we know.
Exactly.
Right.
She has her own new path to forge.
Exactly. Which was great.
Yeah.
She has her own family with the Ravagers.
So happy when she was back with her Ravager
She felt
family.
fulfilled.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's what I love. That's what I absolutely love.
Yeah.
But this Gamora, the one from the first Guardians through Guardians 2, through Avengers Infinity War, through even what Zoe Saldana was doing in the 2014 version of the character, this one, the new one in Endgame, I thought was awesome. But I love Gamora very, very much, and I thought that that whole storyline was awesome.
Plus, Zoe Saldana is so charming and fun, and she plays the character so well, and she just is so amazing at all the action and the stunts. It's like you can't not love her.
Have you seen her Instagram, by the way?
They're great.
She looks like she's having so much fun on set. Like it's it's absolutely awesome.
Next, we have little baby Groot from the end of Volume 1 into Volume 2. Now he's a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Where does this new Groot sit on your guys' ranking? Where do you put him?
I wish this Groot had a little bit more to do in the movie.
Okay.
I
Groot's a tough character.
Groot is a tough character. But in this case he was like the enforcer.
Yeah.
Which I think was awesome, which was a good payoff when they did the face-off scene inside that room, because he was like,
with the high evolutionary.
I got 12 guns.
Yeah, that was his General Grievous moment.
Oh yeah,
that was amazing.
Absolutely rad. He had some really cool a shield abilities. He grew some wings. It was very obvious that even though he's not the same Groot, he's still very attached to Rocket.
Totally.
He's still die hard for the team.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's not found his voice completely on this team yet, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
I think
because he has a future. There's still a Guardians of the Galaxy in existence,
and he's still
Rocket
growing.
And Groot.
He's still kind of developing into his personality and what he's going to be. So as far as this movie goes, he would probably be my least favorite, but that's not even to clown on him at all. It's just like everybody else is written so well.
Exactly.
And the "I love you guys" moment is great. Is great.
So do you guys know about why he chose "I love you guys"?
I'd love to know if you know.
Why?
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
Why?
Because we no longer are outside of the team as an audience. We are in the Guardians now, so we
now
understand what he's
Groot.
saying.
Yes.
Oh,
That made me want to cry.
That's
great.
amazing.
It's great.
Because
he
at first,
said, technically, he said, "I am Groot." It's just that we
finally hear what he said. Yeah,
the way Peter Quill,
the way
Drax
Gamora did at
Rocket.
the end of that movie too, where Groot came up to her and said, "I am Groot," and she's like, I'm going to take off.
Because when we watched it, I thought, I was like, oh, is he learning how to speak like English?
No, dude, you're in the Guardians now.
You're on the team.
Homies.
Yeah, you're on the team. That's amazing. When our audience starts speaking Czech in Spanish, you'll have made it.
Next up from Guardians 2, we were just talking about her. We got to bring up Mantis.
We gotta put her second
Mantis?
after.
Thank you.
After Rocket,
I
bro.
agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Mantis is pretty
Put that
amazing.
woman where she belongs at the number 2 spot, please.
So Mantis is a little bit of a controversial character because she's introduced as Ego's basically slave.
Right.
And we didn't learn, or we did, it was hinted at, there was a little clue.
Yeah.
But we didn't get the confirmation that no, Mantis was his child as well.
Yeah.
You know, and so that makes her Peter's half-sister, which was the best part of the holiday special, that realization. But when she was first introduced, I know a lot of folks, especially, again, compared to the comic book version of the character, who's much more active in her agency, were like, oh, you've cast an Asian woman to be this very, like,
submissive.
Like, and people were like, that's not cool. And there is an element to that. There is those optics are there. Like, that's true. But even from the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where she becomes a part of the team, Drax is encouraging her to use her powers to kind of help defeat Ego or calm him down or whatever. And she's embraced as being a member of the Guardians, which was great. Into Infinity War, where she was using some of her abilities on Thanos. And she's been with the Guardians now for 4 years, and she was really, really funny. And she's kind of in the background, but she was there and everything. Into she gets dusted, and then she comes back. And I think that Pom Klementieff especially shined in the holiday special. Mantis is hilarious.
That was
And Mantis
That's
and
what
Drax,
started to change my mind with Mantis.
And then this movie, she is the most active. She is the character who, in a way, is the sort of therapist or very empathetic.
She's helping the team gel.
Calling everybody out on their bullshit. I love Mantis in this film. Second favorite Guardian after Rocket.
You know what my favorite thing about, and I don't know if you noticed it, but my favorite thing about Mantis was something that James Gunn did, where she was the most uncoordinated with her body. So when she was floating through space when they were going to OrgoCorp, she was like
hitting her head on everything.
She was like
Oh my
slamming head first
God.
into stuff.
Oh
and those
my
were little
God.
jokes that when I first watched it, I didn't really catch.
Right.
But on second watch, I was like, wait, is James Gunn like doing some slapstick comedy with Mantis?
what's
'Cause
happening
this
here?
is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Even just her putting all of the spacesuits in the trash chute accidentally.
Right.
Her suits are in space.
She had the most charming things.
Yeah.
And then the last shot when she leaves, she looks like such a badass controlling those three giant monsters. It's just like, who is this character? Like, we need more.
Leaving Drax as being somebody who is going to stay on nowhere because Nebula's like, I need you here.
Yes.
And we'll get to Nebula in a second, but basically we're all the characters who are no longer Guardians where they leave off at the end of the film. Brilliant. Great. Star-Lord finally going back to Earth. We got to talk about that. What a great payoff. Meeting his 90-some-year-old grandfather. Like, that almost moved me to tears. And it's just, it's the thing of now Peter Quill can kind of, again, going back to Mantis, she goes, people left you, but you left somebody. Just summing it up like that. And I go, man, Mantis is such a great character. This is fantastic.
She's the best.
People on Earth die when they're like 50. Are you about to die?
Are you about to die?
No.
What's even the point of being born? It's so good.
And then Mantis
so
is going
good.
off and she kind of acknowledges, she goes, I only ever did what Ego wanted. Or where you got, she goes, now I'm going to figure out what I want to do. Gamora being a Ravager, this new Gamora. Absolutely. There's so much story potential there. And Drax deciding to be with Nebula, and I just really hope that Mantis decides to come back to nowhere, and I feel like she will.
I think she will.
I think so.
Because as much as she needs to go find herself, she also has her brother on Nowhere, right? Like there needs to be some coming back home for her because there is no other home for her at this point. But I'm gonna say my other favorite Mantis moment was when she made Drax. That dude fall in love with Drax.
So good.
Oh my God.
Dude, and she was trying so hard not to crack.
So funny.
Oh my
Holy shit.
Oh my
Her
God.
and Dave are so funny.
They're so good together.
You guys have seen Glass Onion. Dave Bautista in Glass Onion. He's hysterical. I hope that he gets to do as many comedies as he wants. And Pom Klementieff looks awesome in Mission Impossible. But I hope she does other comedy.
Me too.
I think she should.
She's so funny. So
she's so funny.
Another member of this franchise that folks have been saying stealthily has the best character development in the entire MCU. Nebula, Karen Gillan, Nebula. I think she's my third favorite. Of these, where are you guys at? But let me know where to place her.
This is a spicy one.
Let me know where to place her.
This is tough. Okay,
well, I mean, did you
make
guys?
your case.
My case is just that Nebula is a character that has so much baggage, but has been treated very well in every single one of the movies. Even in the first Guardians movie, there's little glimpses of, she's very traumatized. She's obviously dealing with an abusive upbringing like Gamora, and instead of just being the side villain, there was a lot of depth in that first film, but the second movie, the sister stuff, made me cry more than the father-son, Peter Quill and Ego stuff. And it's really beautiful. And then the fact that, and people pointed this out, and I didn't even need for them to point out because I remembered this. Out of all these characters, bro, they all got dusted by Thanos except for Nebula and Rocket. So when Rocket wakes up, where's Nebula? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when Rocket speaks into the thing, Nebula loses it. She puts her hand up to her mouth
Yeah.
and just starts sobbing because she's so happy that Rocket's alive.
friends.
And I'm like, dude,
Them
They're
sitting on
homies.
the
Dude,
is
they're
it in
homies.
Endgame sitting on the
Yes.
on the
yes,
ship ramp and
that
just
they were
Yeah.
Avengers for
Yeah.
5 years. None of these other characters are Avengers.
yeah
No.
yeah
Just those two were technically Avengers
Yeah.
for
They are
5.
Avengers.
Yeah.
Not technically. They are Avengers.
They are.
So, but that's my case. But guys, talk to me about
Oh,
Nebula.
man.
How'd you like
It's
Nebula
so
in this
hard
film?
because like I do totally agree that Nebula has had one of the best arcs in the MCU.
Yeah.
To go from being just flat evil,
Yes.
but then understanding
Yeah.
the motivation behind why she's that way.
Yes.
Going from understanding to then being super empathetic about her situation.
Yes.
And the sibling rivalry between her and Gamora, and then seeing the redemption as it slowly
Yes.
trickles in Endgame, or even before that. But like,
But in Endgame,
the build,
Tony
yeah.
Stark playing football with her and being like, "Good game," and she's
Yeah.
like, "Thank
should
you."
have-
She's
Yeah.
trying hard to learn.
I did
Yeah.
win that.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that so much. And Karen Gillan, because you see Karen Gillan, and I don't see Nebula necessarily because Karen
Right.
Gillan seems like such the opposite of what Nebula is.
She is.
But then when Karen Gillan inserts her Karen Gillan-ness
Yes.
into the humorous moments, the funny moments.
So funny.
Stop looking at me like that.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, this is so good. I was laughing hysterically. So
Okay. So
that
what's
character
your
to me
case? What's your
probably
case,
has
Adam?
had one of the best arcs.
Yeah.
So I think she edges out Drax just barely because of that.
Oh, interesting.
For me.
Okay.
For me.
So,
Where are you
Hector,
at,
you're
Augustine?
saying number 2.
I'm saying put her after Mantis, but before Drax.
Adam is
That's-
saying.
that's Adam's
saying
Are you
the same
saying
thing.
right there?
The same
Where are
thing.
you
okay.
at?
Okay. Okay. So this character is tough for me because once again,
It's okay.
best character growth in the entire MCU.
Yeah.
I will agree with that.
Established.
It was amazing to see her go from a one-toned, angry revenge character.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it caught me off guard when I was like, "Oh, she's like die hard about these homies, right?"
yes.
Like
yes, yes.
it kind of, and I wasn't ready for it,
No.
and so I don't think I've processed her character development enough.
Okay.
To put her in the number 3 spot.
You want to put her after
I
Drax?
think I would put her after Drax.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
And that's only my personal thing, but I
Yeah.
think you guys are
bro,
ultimately correct.
these
that she
four
belongs there.
these four
These four
characters,
characters
right
are like
here,
number 1 spots.
I-
These are number 1 spots right
I
here.
would
This is
take
picking-
I
yeah.
would take a bullet for these
Oh, yeah, I
fictional
know.
characters
I
right
know,
here, bro.
right?
Like
But they don't need you to because
Yeah.
they all each
they're
can,
my dudes.
You don't need to take a bullet
so-
from me.
yeah.
I'll take
The-
it myself.
The other addition in Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh,
Volume
God.
2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume
Yeah.
2. Welcome to the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
Mary Poppins,
Only
y'all.
he didn't say
He's in there.
frickin'.
Can we just blow him up and have him hover over the whole team?
I'm Mary
Because-
Poppins, y'all.
Do I look
he's,
cool?
he's on a different level.
Does
like,
it look cool?
he
Hell
is,
yeah, it's
he is
cool.
a guardian, but he's like the Yoda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
sure.
like I don't want to consider him as like one of the homies. He's like
Okay.
a father figure
Yeah.
to the
Okay,
homies.
I might have some surprises in store for you. Then I don't know what to tell you for the
Well,
rest of these
okay,
characters.
then
but
tell me.
My ranking for this is probably going to put Yondu probably right after the. Actually, I'm going to go right before Peter Quill.
Okay.
So picture it's going to go Gamora, then Yondu back here,
Mhm.
then Peter.
But that's like nitpicking at this point. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a tough
but
call to
Yeah.
make.
Yondu is. Don't get it twisted. Yondu is an abusive father.
Oh, yeah.
He is not great, but damn it if that moment doesn't get me.
Dude.
At
Right.
the end of Guardians
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and the notion that he was locked into it because he also has a bit of a tragic backstory
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
He
yeah.
had people that threw him
Massively
away.
tragic.
His
Yeah.
parents sold me to the slavers, whatever it is that he says about his Kree backstory.
Yeah.
You know, I know who you are, boy, because you're me. So if we love Rocket that much, there's a lot of Rocket in Yondu and vice
Yeah,
versa.
yeah.
But I think that the notion of like, you think I use my head, boy? You got to use your heart. Bringing him back in this one for Kraglin to see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, it was so good.
I feel the power of the influence of Yondu, and I want to shout out to that James Gunn or Nicole Perlman from that first film, but it was probably James Gunn. Drastically changed this character from the comics for the better.
Oh, yeah.
This is Rooker. This is Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
I love Michael Rooker.
you,
yeah,
you
so,
just turn
yeah.
the camera on and let him go.
Right.
So that's where I put him.
Okay.
Um,
I'm not going to disagree with that
okay.
lineup.
Yeah, I don't
Adam?
either.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
either.
Let's also. Can you pull up that shot? Like, wwhere's my edge here? I mean, I know I'm going off of that thing.
Can you
but
check the
am I-
OBS?
yeah,
Make sure
am
we're
I looking?
still
Okay. This is
Okay.
good.
Oh, perfect framing with
I
Groot
could even
there.
I could even scooch this dude over
Yeah.
a little
You
bit
got
because
some room.
Rocket ain't being dethroned from the number
Yeah,
one
no,
spot,
no,
baby.
no.
Nobody's gonna
Rocket
take
ain't being
Rocket's
dethroned,
throne.
but I'm trying
Rocket
to
ain't
make a
going
little bit of
nowhere,
room. I've got a
nowhere.
little surprise for you guys.
Kraglin. Okay.
He was definitely part of the team for
He was-
a hot second.
The Asgardian of the galaxy.
for
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
From the end of Avengers Endgame into the summer of next year. Thor was an Asgardian of the galaxy. He was zipping around the galaxy with these homies, and he had a hilarious sequence basically with the Guardians. And we love Himbo Thor. The Himbo Thor's our favorite, and it's difficult. It's difficult to rank like the Thor.
Damn,
character.
it made his ass tall as hell.
Yeah, he was really tall.
You know,
Jesus.
Hemsworth's a big boy.
Yeah.
But I want to.
He's thick.
I want to include him in this, and I had to bring the Ravager outfit,
Of course.
obviously,
Right.
because that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
he looked like when he was a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I would want to put. I think I'd want to put Thor maybe. I don't know, dude. Like now, I'm like, do I like the character of Thor
Right.
more
Yeah.
than these four? I think I'm putting Thor right here. I think I like Nebula in the MCU more than Thor in the MCU. And
I
Hemsworth's
think-
hysterical, dude. I love Hemsworth.
I think it's hard for me to pin him
Yeah.
on this lineup
Yeah.
because he has his own really deep emotional
Yes.
arc as
Yeah.
well.
Now, if we were bringing in Korg, which he was
Right,
not a member of the Korg, would be up there with Rocket. He'd be chilling up there. One of my favorite characters. Like, but this is Thor Odinson, and
Yeah.
he's, he's had a little bit of ups and downs.
I would also put him as floating behind the Asgardians.
Yeah,
do,
right.
do you
The
guys
galaxy.
do you guys think that Thor should be lesser than a Gamora, Yondu, Star-Lord, more than a Nebula? Like
See, here's the thing.
Okay.
I don't think I can put him on this roster.
he is, whether
I know
you
he
like
is.
it or not.
I know he is, but we didn't see that development of him forming with the team.
With the Guardians.
Sure. It's
With
true.
like he's still called Rocket a rabbit at one point,
Yeah.
Right.
And so
Right,
I'm just
right,
like, don't
right.
fucking
It's-
disrespect Rocket that
Yeah.
way, bro. Don't you
It was
dare
more
talk
of a-
about
I
Rocket
think
that
it
way.
was more of a term of
think so.
endearment.
I don't think so. I don't
know.
think he ever
I don't
fully,
know.
I don't think he
Somebody,
ever fully gelled with Star-Lord. Like they still had that competition going.
They did, but what's funny is in Love and Thunder, when Thor shows up, Star-Lord does have this moment of like, oh, here it comes. Oh, like even Star-Lord has no choice but to adore Thor.
Yeah.
Because Thor's
Yeah.
Thor.
He's
Like,
Thor.
he's
Because he's
Thor.
one of the most
You know.
powerful forces
But
in the MCU.
somebody did bring up online, and it's like, oh, we didn't really get to see this happen
Right.
in either the Thor movie or a Guardians
Right.
movie.
Yeah. We
And-
kind of got a little bit of it in Infinity War.
And a tiny bit, and I
Yeah.
replied with like, this would be the perfect type of thing because he was again with them for months.
Mm-hmm.
This I think would be the perfect thing if they did it as a comic book,
Yeah.
if they did it
totally.
as a novel, if they did it as some other kind of tie-in media that
Yeah.
didn't necessarily need Chris Hemsworth
And the rest of the cast.
Chris Pratt, and all these
Yeah.
people to show up and film it or
Yeah.
record their voices. I'm
Yeah.
like, just do it as a comic,
Right.
To really get some great.
I
little
mean,
moments
honestly, you
in
could
there.
even do it. Well, I don't think a what if episode would fit necessarily, but yeah, animated short or something like
It could
that.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Thor is the once and bad roommate of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
There you go.
I didn't see the development, so I can't put him on this
They
list.
respect him,
Right.
But
Yeah.
they
They know
were
who
like,
he is.
"Oh, Thor, you're gonna go check this out? Cool, we're gonna dip out." Like,
They're
we
like,
gotta-
whoa,
we're outta here,
Thor,
we're outta
when are
here.
you moving out, bro?
Peace,
are
brother.
you
Peace,
are you
brother.
okay
Yeah.
with this ranking, this positioning of Thor?
Yeah, it's tough because like there's certain things that I would put Thor over Mantis. There might be one or two things that might put Thor over Rocket.
Adam, let's close that gap between Gamora and Nebula there real quick, and let's just throw Thor in the back there a little bit.
Just
What are
go-
you talking about? What are you talking about? He'll be back there. It's okay. He's right there. He's
He
right
can
there.
hang. He was the once acquainted Guardian of the Galaxy.
Okay. Next up, we have a basically a side character, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of potential in the future of this because this character is a current member of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. We've got a really interesting one with Mr. Well, this looks kind of weird, a little funky. I'm going to make this not look so penisy. There we go. Maybe that looks even more penisy. Kraglin.
There's a lot happening here.
Kraglin had a great
Kraglin.
redemption arc.
Yeah.
He did.
As great as any of the Guardians up there, probably not. I think I would.
I would
put
see him right between Star-Lord and Groot, honestly.
I wouldn't.
You'd put him
I
after-
would put him after
Groot,
after Big Groot.
I think.
Okay.
Sorry, Sean Gunn. You're great. I am going to
No,
put you
you're
at the
great.
end of the line here.
Yeah.
But look, when it comes to character development and
Yeah, that's true.
contributions to the team,
Groot definitely outranks him.
I mean, Groot outplays him.
Yeah.
hardcore.
Yeah.
3 times,
right? And,
at
and,
least.
and not to say that the moment where he started controlling the arrow
right.
was not,
But it was a
badass.
slow burn to get there.
It was a slow burn, and he had to work a lot harder than the rest of them. So he had the heart.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry,
I'm
Kraglin.
not mad that Kraglin is a
Yeah.
member of the Guardians
I'm
of the
not mad
Galaxy.
either.
Yeah,
I
it's
Like
hear
very-
his
it was
spot.
well earned because of
It
the
is
his
very
ending.
spot.
cool. It
Yeah.
is
And we
very
haven't
cool.
seen him fully master the arrow in like combat at
Right.
this point,
Yes.
just like an emergency
And-
situation.
I think his best moment is when he said,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
yes.
Cosmo.
Yeah,
yes.
she's a good
Absolutely.
dog.
Yeah.
She's
They
a
go
good dog.
together.
They go together for me, too.
Okay.
Even though
great.
Cosmo, I feel like did more
Yeah.
like keeping those two ships
Sure,
together,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, hold on, let's show the full lineup here.
Look at them Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, this ain't even the full lineup, homie.
I really like what they did, and I really like the voice characterization of Cosmo.
Cosmo.
Yeah,
I agree.
And
yeah,
it was
yeah.
really cute. I think
agree.
it really got its point
How many
across.
Guardians you got in there, bro?
Oh, good news. I found Drax's knife.
Oh, there you go.
Put that in his boot before you lose it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't worry. I
that
will
in the boot.
Put it
that
in his booty.
the boot.
Put it in his booty. Come on, boy.
Let's watch that up
Get it in
close in 6K.
Toot it
Yeah,
and
there you
boot
go.
it.
There you go.
The last member that I've got here is
yes.
is a new member and a current Guardian of the Galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that this actor did a great job. Kind of a minor role, but we're talking about
Adam.
Adam Warlock,
Warlock.
my bro.
Adam
Yeah.
Warlock.
I mean,
another maybe future himbo.
the
Another
potentiality
Yes.
is massive
Yes.
with this
Huge,
character.
huge,
right?
huge.
Will Poulter is
Yeah.
the man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
addition to the team.
I would have honestly liked more from Adam Warlock, and I know that James Gunn has kind of talked about, the inclusion of that character and how obviously he wanted to pay off what was set up in Volume 2,
Yeah.
and that he felt the pressure that if he did nothing with the character, then fans would be upset, and that if he didn't do enough, then fans would also be upset. So, I do think that in a lot of ways he acknowledges, even maybe without directly saying it, I feel like there's some acknowledgement of, I would have loved to have done more with the character, but
Yes,
at the
yes,
same
yes.
time, I'm concluding a story with these other 6-7
Right.
characters that we've established.
The focus
Right.
should be on Rocket.
Yeah.
The focus
100%.
should be on
So
Mantis
as
and
much
Drax.
as I would have liked to have seen more from Adam Warlock, I totally agree. This character has a future in the MCU, and I honestly think that this position right here, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
This
I
is pretty
agree.
good.
I think this
Ain't
is
mad about
this
it.
is the final ranking from least favorite, but a character I still adore.
Yeah.
To
Look.
most favorite. Again, this
Least,
lineup of
least
characters.
is still good.
Yeah.
This lineup of characters is probably my favorite lineup of characters overall in the Marvel
in the
Cinematic. Do you know what I'm
entire
saying?
MCU. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this lineup of characters are going to beat
get
a lot of
Kraglin
other
in
Get
there a
Kraglin
little
in
bit.
a
there
lot of
a little
other
more.
major characters, but I'm going to scooch everybody a little bit.
So
over here.
here's the thing, and I've heard a lot of people complaining that they didn't like this movie because they wanted more Adam Warlock.
And
I'm
I
like,
get
bro,
that.
This
Silly.
is not the
Yeah.
Adam Warlock.
This isn't the
movie.
Warlock movie.
This is
yeah.
not
villain is
his-
high evolutionary.
Yeah. What we needed to do is give
Yeah.
him motivation to join the team, and that's
Yeah.
what happened. That's all we
Yes.
needed from this character.
Yeah.
Because in the comic books, he's a completely different character.
Agreed.
Yeah.
He's
Agreed.
more like a cosmic entity, kind of knows all on
Yes.
the level of Doctor Strange, but is also uber powerful.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of like a
Yeah.
Solve-All in the comics, where like if he shows up, things are gonna get solved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Adam Warlock. I like that he was born early here.
Yes.
Right.
He wasn't fully
Lots of
developed at this
development,
point. There's
yeah.
lots of places for him to go
Yeah,
and to
absolutely.
learn. So this movie did not need more Adam Warlock.
I
It
agree.
needed everything that it had, and what it had was perfect.
Yeah,
And
I
Elizabeth
agree.
Debicki, who played his mom, Aisha,
Yeah.
she was also really funny.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she's
Yeah,
somebody
yeah, yeah.
who is cursed to be this gorgeous human being. When I'm like a
Right.
lot of these very attractive cast members, Palm Clementiev and
Yeah.
Karen Gillan and Drax Batista, Dave Batista,
Drax
is
Batista.
this-
Drax
is
Batista.
this- Dave is this specimen.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he's locked in the body of this amazing, imposing giant.
Yeah.
But he's seemingly a very sweet guy
Yes.
and really
Emotional.
funny.
Yeah.
But
Very
Elizabeth
funny.
Debicki was so funny. So I think
Yeah.
the final ranking of this, if we can cut to these characters real quick, I love this. Look at this. This makes me so happy. Look at this. From least favorite to most favorite, we got Kraglin,
Uh-huh.
then Cosmo,
Yeah.
then Adam Warlock, then
The Groots.
Adam Hlavik, then
Yep,
back
yep.
to
Adam Hlavik.
original Groot, then new Groot.
Yep.
Star-Lord, Yondu, Gamora, kind of all-encompassing both because I haven't made an action figure of the new Gamora, but
Sure.
Gamora. Thor Odinson is a Guardian of the Galaxy. Nebula, Drax, Mantis, and the greatest of them all,
Rocket
Raccoon.
Baby. Rocket Raccoon.
Yep.
I love this movie. Go looking at these guys, it makes me
Listen,
love the
man.
movie more. I'm like, what a great movie.
I
Great
haven't
movie.
been able to stop thinking about that movie. Like it'll pop into my head
Yeah.
at random times throughout the day, and I'm like, man,
Do you
dude.
have a favorite moment? Single favorite
I mean,
moment.
Yes.
do I have a favorite moment? Probably the hallway sequence because the Beastie Boys were playing
Yeah,
because it
no
was
Sleep Till
such
Brooklyn.
a well done
Yeah.
shot thing. But as far as like character development, Probably Groot. I'm sorry. Probably Rocket accepting his name.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the greatest.
And let me tell you, him and the Guardians just beating the shit out of High Evolutionary.
Oh yeah, that
Very
was fantastic.
satisfying.
It's satisfying
Very
to peel
satisfying.
his face off. Like
you
that was
Alex
satisfying.
Murphy looking son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
that
I was like,
was-
that's
that
exactly
was
what I thought of
absolutely great.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
Also
yeah.
worth shouting out, Chuck Woody Woogie.
Oh, I mean,
So
Chukwudi
good.
Iwuji.
Brilliant.
So
Incredible.
good.
Brilliant.
I think my favorite villain of the Guardians movies,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Lee Pace
Easily.
as Ronan was
Easily.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kurt Russell's great.
And Kurt
but-
Russell's great, but I think
Yeah.
I think
Chukwudi-
And
High
we
Evolutionary was
don't
pretty
know
good.
if he's dead yet. We didn't actually see him
Yeah.
die.
Do you think that High Evolutionary could come back?
I think he can come back because there's the scene where he says, "Gravity is at my whim."
Yeah.
He could have easily
Ah,
grabbed something,
yeah.
protected himself from that
Yeah.
explosion.
True,
I don't
true.
think he's dead. I
Yeah.
really don't think he's dead, and I
Yeah.
think we're gonna see him come back in a big way.
Yeah.
In like,
If not, the
5
actor's going to be
years.
in more DC stuff, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
So like, we'll see. We'll see.
But
I
his
think
character
there's-
is dead in the
I
DC
know.
universe.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll bring back
Peacemaker.
something else.
Spoilers. Watch Peacemaker. It's great.
That's great. It's great.
Guys, thanks for letting me
I'm
bring
happy.
my toys.
I'm happy with
Yeah,
this.
dude.
Maybe we can review more movies like this. 'Cause I
Hey,
feel like
hey.
I feel like we got really in depth with these characters.
I
did, we
know.
did, we
You know,
did. Look at 'em. Look how
sometimes
cute they
after I
look.
order these from Hasbro, they send them to me like right when the movie comes out.
Yeah.
But other times, like I'm still waiting on the action figures I ordered from Quantumania, Ant-Man. So
Oh,
we
really?
couldn't, I
I
couldn't.
see.
We couldn't even
Yeah.
do the Ant-Man and the
Yeah.
Wasp review
Okay.
because I'm like,
That's
oh, I
okay.
still haven't gotten those toys yet. But
Well, then maybe we'll do
Whatever.
it some other way. Who
Yeah,
knows?
whatever.
Who knows? We'll
Yeah.
see.
hey, I got three.
Um,
I got 4 other phases, baby. I got a lot of these toys.
Oh my god.
This is a chock full episode because we still have like 20,000
I know,
Are we
Patreon
I
going to
know.
do all
questions.
these? Or are we going to save them?
We'll do some of them. We'll do
we'll
some
do-
of them.
we'll
We'll do
do-
some, and then
yeah.
we'll roll some over
We'll
into the
do
next
good ones.
episode.
Okay,
Just
sounds
kidding.
good.
They're all good.
All right, from Wes Kim. I don't know if you guys noticed. Perhaps this was just here in Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada, where I am. Most of the matinee screenings for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 for the first 2 weeks are in premium large format, and they were in 3D. Do you think this is on purpose because there's a lot of 3D shots and sequences in this film? I don't know. That's a great question, but I do feel like, and I don't know if it's the Avatar effect. I don't know if this is maybe just like Marvel feeling really confident about their 3D conversions now, but it does seem like they are leaning back into 3D. And
I hope
Doctor
so.
Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, just the fact that they even mentioned, oh, this movie was really done with the intention of being
Yeah.
seen in 3D.
Right. It's
big.
Surprised me that Kevin Feige said that on the red carpet on the premiere.
I remember
and
that.
I really do feel like maybe they are trying, and look, it could just be a money grab, whatever. But for people like us who like 3D, it's cool that the availability seems to be expanding a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
And I hope
agree.
that, and you know, Bob Iger can say whatever he wants, but if it leads to there potentially being a resurgence of 3D home media in the United States,
Please.
where we don't have to spend $150 to import them from Japan, that would be cool.
That's crazy.
Because I'm going to import Guardians Volume 3.
Yeah,
I'll
Of
tell you
course.
what.
You
Of
have
course.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked
yeah.
so good.
Right.
Adam Warlock flying to it, and he's like, "Mother," looked amazing in
Yeah,
3D. I was
yeah.
like, "We are in space."
Next question. Next question.
From David Taylor, how do you think Peter Quill will be integrated into the Avengers? At the very end of the film, it says he will return.
Yeah.
Now that he's back on Earth, it makes sense he'll help them. Also, give me a Quill show re-acclimatizing to modern American culture.
I think-
actually a
Well,
good question.
I was going to say I think Chris Pratt might be a little too big for like a Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
But
well,
They've
I
had
don't
a lot
know.
of the big
He is.
stars
He is.
have their
He's a little too big.
shows. Yeah.
This dude's all over the place. He was
Yeah.
in every
Yeah.
new Jurassic Park movie. He's Mario.
that's true.
Yeah.
He's
That's
like
true.
everything.
True,
He's
true.
too big
Um,
for the Disney Plus stuff.
I think Peter Quill is going to show up in Avengers Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious to see what he's going to look like. I
Yeah.
hope he's got that cool helmet from the comics with like a helmet.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'll have a completely different Star-Lord look and
Yeah.
it won't
Yeah.
be this. I don't know. but
I was really surprised to see that at the end of the movie, truthfully.
Yeah.
Right. I want to see what Earthbound heroes, how they will influence him. Because
Yes.
he's very easily influenced by these heroes, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's his name?
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
the other guy, Patrick Swayze,
Yeah.
like
David
all this stuff,
Hasselhoff.
David
God.
Hasselhoff, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, actually hanging and being with these characters, I think will influence him in a big way, in which they might change him personally, maybe his appearance, maybe he'll be more open to like becoming friends with a lot of people, and they'll kind of teach him the ways like they did with Cap.
Maybe he'll.
So,
maybe
who knows?
If the Avengers are reforming in the film,
Right.
Which right now there's no Avengers
Right.
technically.
Right.
Maybe he will become an Avenger.
Yeah, maybe.
And he'll be in that first movie,
Yeah.
and then Kang or whoever will like wipe out his timeline, and then
Right.
we won't see the Star-Lord character again until Secret Wars when they restore the. Like I'm trying
Never
to
know.
compare. I'm trying to compare to what they did with Infinity War Endgame.
Yeah.
And how they brought in the different groups of characters, and
Yeah.
so really
Yeah.
curious. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Sean Jacks 30 asks, "Hey guys, I just ruptured my Achilles, so I'm at home for 2 months or more.
Ouch.
So I was wondering what books and or comics would you recommend, preferably ones with longer storylines or volume?"
Listen,
I got you.
first
Go.
chew on this super long episode of CzechXicans. Chew on this one for a while because
And
we were
then-
talking a lot of good stuff.
and then
here.
listen to it again.
And then listen to it
Yeah.
again, and then tell your friends
To check
that it's
out
the
the
best
podcast.
Guardians 3 review you've ever heard.
And the video.
And the video. But okay, good stuff.
You should start reading the IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 2010, 2011. Look up the reading order, read it that way, read it digitally, go to your library, order comics online, do whatever you have to do. That series is awesome. Best Ninja Turtles maybe ever, maybe
Yeah.
tops the 1990 movie.
Yeah.
Check it out.
wow.
You got a lot to chew on. You got 2 months. Go.
Go.
Go. Justin Perlo asks, "Will you answer
Oh,
my..."
wait. One
sorry.
more.
Yeah.
You have to watch Gendy's Primal.
Oh,
There you go.
You never
yeah.
watch Gendy's Primal.
Yeah.
And
got
the
a new
new
show.
watch, the new one, what is it? It's called Unicorn Warriors Eternal.
Yeah, I've
which
seen
is
the images
not
of that.
getting a lot of press. So we need
Sure.
to spread
Oh,
the word
interesting.
about Gendy's new
Okay.
project
Yeah.
that I think HBO is suppressing for some stupid reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
But I hear that the story is on
Zazzle
point.
at it again.
I hear the animation is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to watch it tonight as soon as you guys leave.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Because I'm
Okay.
excited for this.
Okay,
Nice,
tight.
nice.
That's
Yeah,
tight.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
tight.
Justin Pearl asks, "Will you answer my Visions question with your recent What's Coming Up post? We are going to be watching Star Wars Vision Season 2. Can't wait to watch them with you all. The first volume was so much fun to watch. On the next Cooking with Heroes, unofficial title, would you each consider making a dish native to your or your family's hometown? Love the work. Keep up the peace, love, and positivity. P.S. Can't wait to get back into some Deucer Slavin adventures."
Oh, I miss Deucer Slavin.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of the point of the cooking show. Like,
Yeah.
it's cooking stuff that's personal to us.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
I mean, I've
yeah.
tossed around some ideas of things that I would like to cook. One is not so personal. One is just something that I learned to do on my own. But then another dish that I'm thinking about doing is very personal to me. Sometimes the problem or the challenge is that the dishes require more than 90 minutes of time.
Right.
So
right.
you have I have to kind of think about like, okay,
Two-parter.
do I have is it a two-parter where one day is just all the prep and it's just B-roll of me doing everything, and then the second day is
It's
like
putting it together.
putting it together and
cooking.
really utilizing that
We can
90 minutes
skip
to
the B-roll and all this. Just like bring the ingredients and then
There
just
you
cook
go.
for the homies on the day.
Yeah,
out, you know?
yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's a way to do it, but yeah, I would love to. I think that'd be really, really
Yeah.
cool.
Again,
I
you,
think
you tell Adam something. He's like, "I'm not ready. I need more tech."
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
well, you know,
Film it from every angle.
the planning is part of the thing. I want to do more Mexican regional food. I haven't cooked a lot of Mexican regional food. My initial thought was to make pozole for you guys and just
Yeah.
cook it up, but that takes a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to go with pozole, but I have another good thing that I think you guys will really like, and it is a regional dish to Guadalajara, I believe. So
Okay. Nice.
we'll
nice.
see.
I'll take it.
Axel says, "Hey there, new patron here and first time submitting a question. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see the reactions for season 2 of Visions. This has probably been asked before, but what color would y'all each pick for your lightsaber? Anyways, love the content. Saludos from an Argentinian fan.
Green, baby.
I'm going
Mine's
to go
green.
with Oscar Isaac's answer. I'm going to go rainbow colored.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I would probably be blue. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
can
know
do red.
if
You can do
no. I mean, like, do you just pick
Adigali
the
had
color?
a crimson lightsaber.
Does the color signify any kind of
Yes.
like
Yeah.
thing?
Yes.
What does it mean?
So the
What's
yellow
green, what's blue?
lightsabers. So this is
Official
look,
or
I'm
is this
not-
like fan
yeah, so this
theorizing?
is, I don't know if this is canon or if I don't know if this
Okay.
is.
I'm
legend.
sure there's a book out there.
But I've gotten information that the light of the color of your lightsaber changes, or it depends on what you are more inclined to do. So the blue lightsabers are generally more like attack-oriented Jedi, or more combat-oriented Jedi.
Interesting.
Right? So blue is like, I'm very active. I like to go out and use my
Leonardo-
lightsaber.
Leonardo the Ninja
exactly.
Turtle. Go.
The green lightsaber is
Defensive?
generally defensive, generally for people who dive deep into the mysticism and the knowledge of the Force, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why Yoda had the green lightsaber, because he was
Yeah.
like defensive, but probably the most thoughtful Jedi of all of them. And then the yellow lightsaber was first seen, I think, with some Guardian sentries that were guarding a library.
Okay.
And so they were designated the yellow color because they were guardians of the knowledge, basically.
Yeah.
And so they were
Guardians
like,
of the Star Wars galaxy.
Right.
That's kind of
exactly.
Rey Skywalker.
that is
This
Rey
was like,
Skywalker.
she's
That's
sort
why
of
she got the yellow one.
interesting.
So she's kind of guarding the knowledge,
let me-
like the
let me-
last known knowledge of like
Or you're
Jedis,
just Luke and you
right?
just inherit your dad's.
Yeah, or you just get whatever
Right.
color they give
Yeah.
let me,
you.
but Luke had blue then green,
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
which I think fits into what you're saying.
Exactly.
And green,
You know,
and
as
the
he
green
learned.
one was based off of Obi-Wan Kenobi's
Teachings?
lightsaber from the original trilogy.
Right, right.
But the crystal was
Let me
not, obviously.
let me throw some.
And
your
then there's
way.
the white ones.
Yeah.
What's purple? First of all, Mace Windu.
Badass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mace Windu kind of threw everything for a
Yeah.
little
Yeah, I
bit with
can't.
the
I
purple.
can't really.
That just means badass
yeah,
motherfucker,
yeah.
and that's why there's only one.
I can't pull that off.
The white
White. What's white?
lightsaber is a reclaimed Sith lightsaber. So you take a bleeding kyber crystal and you heal it, and it comes out white.
White.
That's why
That's
Ahsoka
cool. Yeah.
is trying to heal the Force, trying to be herself. She has the white lightsaber.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a character in the High Republic who has two white lightsabers as like
Right.
a one thing. It's not
Yeah.
like a Darth Maul this way, but it's
Yeah.
like two this way, almost
Parallel
like
to
a prong.
each other.
Oh,
and
interesting.
two white
Like a fork.
lightsabers. And she is a wayfinder or pathfinder, not a Jedi.
Yeah.
But still uses the Force and
Right.
is affiliated with the Jedi. But she's
Yeah.
like, it's very,
Just
very
like
cool.
Ahsoka. She doesn't want to be part of the Jedi, and she
Yeah,
has
that
her
makes
white
sense.
lightsaber.
Then I think I might go green,
Yeah.
but maybe it's green or blue.
Green all the
Adam,
way.
what's yours?
Purple.
I mean, rainbow color
Yeah.
was a
Rainbow.
fun, but realistically, I think I would. Well, blue's my favorite color, so
Go
I think
blue.
I would
So
lean
blue.
blue.
Then that's your answer. It's
yeah,
blue.
You show up with blue, and then Augustine and I
Yeah.
flank you with our two greens.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the thing. We just got sponsored by a lightsaber company, and so maybe next time
we will
we'll
have some.
Maybe
yeah,
we will
got to
have
do some videos for the
Yeah.
promo.
Hell
so,
yeah.
yeah, we'll do some
Sick,
cool stuff.
dude.
Yeah.
Wesley Marshall asks, "Yo, homies, after watching this movie and seeing the story arc James Gunn told with it, what most resonated for you about these three movies?" Bonus question: after watching him evolve as a filmmaker over the last 10 years, how pumped are you for his Superman? Honestly,
Yeah.
I care about the second part of the question more.
I know.
I am
we
so.
talked
First-
about the first part of the question.
First part of the question, we did, but the thing I think that resonated with me the most is Groot. We sort of talked about how what the character is and how the character works, and it's like you can argue it's not really a full character, but Groot's
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Rocket is a miracle to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocket Raccoon, the love and care for the writing, the acting,
We gotta
the
go back to this.
the
Yeah.
the
Can
Sean
we put
Gunn,
him in the
Gunn,
very
Bradley
front?
Cooper.
Yeah.
leading this
yes.
team, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
the Bradley Cooper
Where
voice.
he belongs. No,
voice-
put him like way up there.
It'll
Well,
just be out of focus.
He'll be
That'll
cut
the
off.
problem.
Yeah, I don't know if he's.
Oh, yeah, he's a
let
little-
me
he's
let me
a
get him in
little out
focus.
of
Hang on.
The focus is a little soft, very close.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But
There
the
you
point
go.
is that like to me, that's James Gunn going. Even though this is one of the most ridiculous ideas in Marvel Comics, this character that exists called Rocket Raccoon or Rocky Raccoon, and he zips around or whatever, or was this little tough talking guy that was paired with the tree in the more recent comics of like 2006. He still took that and he went, I want to put so much emotion and depth into this. And in that first movie, I didn't ask to get made. He called me vermin.
Yeah.
And he called me rat or whatever he says. And he's crying.
Mm-hmm.
And the second movie ends on a shot of Rocket crying after he's mourning Yondu, but also making the realization of like, my family, these people care about me.
Yeah.
Even if I try to push them away. You know, and Star-Lord being like, of course that's what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we care about you kind of thing, right? So that's all James Gunn. It's all everybody who contributed to Rocket, animators, just everybody firing on all cylinders, right? Everybody at their A game. And in part 3, anything with young Rocket, little Rocket,
Oh, come on.
I could
God.
cry just
Oh,
thinking
God.
about it.
Oh, God.
Good
No,
goddamn.
absolutely.
No,
Good
Absolutely.
goddamn. The revelation. It's like, what's this? Master
Yeah.
music? And, you know, learning about music, learning
Yeah.
about the sky, learning about a
Yeah.
rocket. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, you're trying to, you know, and then Star-Lord saying, I went back to get that Zune for
you.
you.
Yeah.
It wasn't even for him. It was for Rocket. It's I love because
That's my
to me, it is the best of a comic book storytelling.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, just like James Gunn said, yeah, the crypto dog is going to be in
Oh my God.
Superman
Yeah.
Legacy. Crypto is
Yeah.
going to be in Superman Legacy. And some dummy dum-dums online are like, ugh, that's going to take me right out of the Superman story where he flies around and can hold up
This
buildings.
guy,
chonies.
this guy with his chonies outside of his pants.
And
That
I'm
dude?
like,
Yeah.
but to take a silly concept from something like superhero comic books, which we all love, but to pour real emotion into it. It's not fake. It's real.
Yeah.
It's really James Gunn.
Verisimilitude.
It's putting that in there. I think is the best of the comic book storytelling potentiality. So
Also,
excited.
this movie proves that superhero fatigue is not real.
Sure.
That's right.
Oh,
I
for
said
sure.
It does
Yeah.
not exist,
And-
and everybody who peddles that, you're wrong,
Yeah.
and you're lying to yourself.
And yeah, of course, and it all comes down to the filmmaker, the story,
Yeah.
the emotion behind it, and I think that's what makes me so excited about Superman Legacy.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
just the fact that Crypto is going to be in the movie, awesome. Finally, in live action, we're going to see Crypto. How cool!
Yeah.
In a
It's gonna
movie,
be
yeah.
rad.
In a
'Cause
movie, yeah.
Crypto's in Titans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
that's
not
the first thing
Superman and
Adam
Crypto.
said
Right.
when
Yeah.
we walked out of the movie. He's like, "I'm so excited for Superman now."
Yeah.
because this movie was such a flex.
Yeah, absolutely,
So, yeah.
absolutely. Martin's asking, I'm visiting the Czech Republic for the first time in July. Any recommendations? Augustine mentioned Kozel Dark, so that's already on my
I mean,
list.
yeah,
Local.
Adam, go to town.
L-O-K-A-L.
Wax
L-O-K.
poetic, bro.
You got to go to Local. That place, I think, is just such a great hangout. And if you just want to get a little insight into just what the cuisine is like, there's so many different things that you can sample. The beer's amazing.
Yes.
I don't know if the mulled wine is a year-round thing or if they only have it there during the fall, winter.
that
I'm
was
not
so good.
sure.
Go hungry.
Abby,
Go
Abby
hungry.
called it muddled wine.
Muddled
Go
wine,
hungry.
yeah. When you go up to the Prague Castle and you go up to the
Beautiful.
like the whole area is beautiful. On the way back down to Old Town Square, there's a winery,
the brewery. Remember?
yeah,
that
there's a
old-
brewery,
old
there's a
school
winery,
brewery?
there's like
Yeah.
so much stuff. I would say don't be afraid to just explore.
Yeah.
I think one of the funnest days that I had was we all went off and did our own thing. I went to go get gifts for people and stuff, and I just walked around.
Yeah.
And I've been to Prague plenty of times, but as an adult, I've only that was the first time I was there as an adult.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most rewarding things was just getting lost.
Yeah.
And you really can't. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Because the city is not that big.
Well-
but it's also like everything is so familiar. Like it's really tough to get lost.
We kind of got lost when we went to Beer Geek. Remember?
That's true.
We were,
and that's
like,
outside.
out there.
Yeah, that's in I think that was Prague.
like you said,
I think that
like
was
Prague 12 or
3 or
something.
7 or something.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
different like
Sections.
sections of the city, but when you're in Old Town Square and near the Prague Castle and all that stuff and Charles Bridge, it's really easy to walk a pretty big walk around everything, and
Yeah.
any place you walk into, you're probably going to enjoy something about it.
Yep.
Enjoy all the sweet
But
stuff.
also go to Beer Geek. Beer Geek
go to-
was awesome.
Beer Geek was cool.
Beer Geek was
I
great.
did enjoy it. If you're cool with going a little bit of a trek outside of the main part of Old Town Square, then it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah,
there's a
for
lot
sure.
of cool stuff. So
sure.
take the funicular up to the Prague Castle.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
was really fun.
Also, you could probably skip on the TV tower. TV.
Yeah, it's fine. But if you go to Beer Geek, it's
What was the
kind of
TV
in that.
tower?
in that
That's why you don't
direction.
remember it because it's
Yeah.
considered the ugliest building, one of the ugliest buildings in the world.
Yeah.
And we went up to it and we were just like, yeah, this is really ugly.
It's there. It's
and then we
it's,
and then
it
we
is what it
walked
is.
down to Beer Geek and it took us like an hour.
Yeah, yeah. It was a fun little walk, but
Oh
you know.
yeah, TV tower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's plenty of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, you can skip that.
Just explore. Just explore. Don't be
Yeah,
afraid to
have a
explore.
great time.
So have a great time. Výborně.
Nazdravie.
Výborně.
Moment prosím.
Moment prosím.
Please.
This is a really fun conversation about Guardians of the Galaxy. This is this is the most
Are you
in-depth.
calling it?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
This is the most in-depth we've been.
How many more questions do we have?
There's a
too
lot of
many?
questions,
there's
but maybe
quite a
we
few.
could save
We'll
them for
roll
the
some
next
over.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll save these. Sorry if we didn't answer your question. If you're excited about getting your question answered,
Sorry, I brought toys.
roll
Yeah.
over to the next one because our Guardians.
Yeah.
talk
Otherwise,
back.
this would be a 14-hour episode. This would
Crazy.
be as long as the
Yeah.
Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is. I actually really did. I did genuinely enjoy this because we have kind of changed the format of our reviews, and this was a really cool opportunity because it was a concluding
thorough.
chapter, very thorough, and
Yeah.
because it was a concluding film to this entire sort of like trilogy and these characters. Yes, they will potentially go off and have another life in the MCU, doing whatever the case may be.
Can I make you really happy about something?
Yeah, sure.
Can you imagine like 8 to 10 years from now,
We're
I'd
doing
pull
this for
out
Superman Legacy.
a bunch of Superman action figure characters, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
speaking of my language,
and I'm like, you know who's the best? Low key, but also high key. Lois Lane,
Lois
best character in the
Lane.
fact. Like Jimmy
MVP.
Olsen, though. Jimmy was
MVP.
so good.
Oh
It's
my
the sound
God.
effects.
Like,
you need sound
I
effects.
know.
Bibbo Bibowski.
And the fact that
How
James
can we
Gunn has said
forget?
that Jimmy Olsen's going to be in the movie, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be all these same actors too. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
probably
great.
a lot of them. Yeah, so it
If
was a lot
he's
of fun.
smart, if he's
Chris
smart about
Hemsworth
it,
is going to be
Superman.
Perry White.
yeah, or yeah, exactly.
Perry White.
Yep.
That would be funny.
Absolutely.
Clark, get in here.
Get in here, clock.
Clark, I need your article on the great Caesar's
Oh, my
ghost.
To be
God.
Jimmy Olsen.
I can't believe that.
That would be funny.
That meteorite's about to hit Metropolis. Clark, where's Clark?
something,
He's always
Clark.
running off.
Yeah.
I've got to hit the gym. Lois, can you tell Clark that I went to the gym?
I need a
Oh
pump.
my god.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth as Perry White. That's so
So
funny.
ridiculous.
Karen Gillan as Jimmy Olsen.
Oh my god.
Bradley Cooper as
Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon in Superman Legacy. What am I doing
Bradley
here? Crossover
Cooper.
from
No,
another
Bradley
dimension.
Cooper is Crypto the Superdog.
Crypto
Yeah,
the
there you
Superman.
go.
Hey, Superman, come on. You got to take me for a walk. What are you doing here? Oh, suck the fun out of everything.
Kraglin as Lex Luthor.
Oh my god.
Sean Gunn as Kraglin as Lex Luthor.
Yeah. Oh man.
Great.
Anyways, that
Let
was
us
a good
know
one.
your thoughts about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think there's plenty to talk about regarding this movie, regarding the entire franchise of the Guardians of the Galaxy. If there are any actors you would like to see crossover into the DC universe from the Guardians universe, let us know in the comments below.
Yes, please.
Also, let us know your thoughts on the Writers Guild
Also,
strike
we
as
just
well.
hit 5,000 subs on the CzechXicans
We
channel.
did.
So that's a big deal.
We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Also,
Thank you.
check out the
Thanks,
Patreon. There's so much stuff. We're watching every movie.
Bro.
We're doing Batman Returns. We just started House of the Dragon. We're also doing Star Trek. We're doing so much.
We did. We haven't put the Star Trek stuff on there at the time
Yeah.
of this recording. We also watched all the Indiana Jones movies.
Oh, yeah.
Augustine has never seen any of them.
No.
Augustine had never seen Batman 89.
Batman
No,
89.
I'd never seen that
Oh
either.
my God.
Coming soon to the Patreon, so join up because that stuff is coming, and it will
Yeah.
eventually make its way to YouTube. But Patreon's
after
where
party,
where
baby.
the after party lives.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Check it out.
Let us know your thoughts. Subscribe. Check out the Heroes Before channel. Check out the CzechXicans channel. Check out everything that we're doing. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
And we'll go off into the forever
With our
sky
friends.
with our friends. Big forever.
forever.